Just a quick press, and it'll.
Yeah.
Good.
It
Is the red
evaporated.
on? Yep, you're good. You got yours
Okay,
on?
Cool.
The red light? Yep, you're good. All right, we're gonna do an audio clap. I can't clap my hands. There we go. There we go. What that does is when I go put it in the audio, I'll find the one big spike in the audio, and then I can sync up the files.
Right.
So, anyway, yeah. Thanks again. So it's Gabriel, right?
Yeah, Gabriel. That's
And
right.
Van.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Cool. So you sound like you're from what, Georgia?
No, I'm actually, it's a funny story. I'm actually from Spain.
Really? Spain?
Yes, but I lived
How
in the
did-
UK for many years.
Okay.
So
All
hence
right.
the
That's
weird
where the
accent.
accent comes.
It's a bit of a mix because it's not
What?
100% British.
You got so last night we had some folks on, and the woman did audio for what did she say? Like voiceover recording and just like
Yeah.
commercials and stuff. She
Oh,
had a
right.
nice voice. And her boyfriend also had a really nice voice. You have an amazing voice.
Well, thank you.
Van, not that you don't have an amazing voice,
Mine
but guys
sucks.
like us are like,
Mine sucks, I know.
yeah, our voices are not so good.
Thank you. No one had complimented before my voice.
No one has?
No, no one
Nuh-uh.
ever. I sir.
Wow.
You're the first one. Thank you.
I mean, as soon as you stepped aboard, it's like, wow, this guy's like got a movie star voice,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, the only thing I get complimented for is my boat.
Which is because it's extraordinary.
It is a nice boat,
It's
you know?
really, really nice.
You guys will see it in the morning, and I'm sure you're disoriented by our location, but Key West is over there, and right beside us here, there's, well, actually all around us is this, it's called a flat. It's like a sandbar, except it's made out of mud.
Yeah.
And it's really, really shallow. It's so shallow that when we have low tides, it'll actually be exposed, and
Oh my
land
God.
will be above.
right.
So it's only a couple feet deep at best. But the original, oh, look at this stupid bird here. Get out of here! Stop shitting in my boat. Go! Get out of here! Yeah! He bothered us last night. That's how we ended the podcast last night.
All right.
He likes to come and get the fish because of the light.
It's like a heron, right? Or something.
Yeah, it's a heron.
Yeah.
And then he sits on the corner of my boat and takes big shits and puts fish scales and blood all over the inside. It's a mess. Anyway, what I was saying was my original boat, the original Andromeda, is actually shipwrecked right here.
Oh.
I sold it back in 21. I sold it. And the guy who bought it just didn't take care of it. He neglected it. And it ended up breaking loose from its anchor line during Hurricane Ian last year and was run aground there. It's been sitting there ever since. It's really sad. Every day I got to see it. But that's where this all started. And that was a unique boat because I ran it the same way. Like I had a fire pit on the back deck, and people from all over the place came together and hung out. But the difference was, unlike here, where you have a nice place to, sleep out of the rain, there was nothing. You just slept outside, and if it rained, you got rained on.
Yeah.
It was more like the foredeck, except that it was in the backside. We didn't even have like a roof like we have here. It was rough. But people still loved it. We had a great time. Most of the time it doesn't rain. It's not bad. But the boat needed a lot of work. This one, or even though it needed a lot of work, it had a lot of charm, a lot of character, because it was like just a grand old ship. This one is more of a yacht. It feels like a yacht. It's supposed to be fancy,
Yeah, it
and
is,
it's just not. It's just tore up, But even still, it's got some kind of an interesting character to it that.
It does. I
don't
mean,
know.
it is elegant, at least to me.
Elegant.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yep.
And very spacious as well. Like
Yeah.
this area here, it's really nice.
Yeah, my buddy. Well, a little bit of the history of this boat was that it was pulled out of the water, I think back in 2000, 2001, somewhere in there. And wait, no, I'm sorry, not that long. It was 12 years. It would have been more like 2010, I think, is when it was pulled out of the water. And then it ended up through one way or another, basically abandoned at the boatyard. And during that time, the termites moved in, and then water started to leak in, and there was water damage everywhere. And the termites loved that because then they had water with the wood, and then just kept going and eating and destroying the thing. All the while, the boatyard was trying to get the ownership of the vessel so they could get rid of it, because otherwise, it's somebody else's property and they can't do anything with it.
Right.
So they finally got the paperwork done, and my buddy bought it, and he was showing it to me. And the thing I was most impressed about when I first showed up. It was right here on this little stairwell. There's a little door. You open that door up, and there's a gasoline pump in there. Like you could pull it up and fill up your little boat with the gasoline pump. I was like, that's so amazing, because back then, if you were out on the water and you ran out of gas, it's not like you just run to the gas dock at the marina because they're closed, right? And that happened all the time, or whether it was your generator needed fuel or your boat or whatever.
It's like a floating gas station.
It is, yeah. It's fantastic. But I was envious of him for buying this boat, and it was so grand. Like I said, just walk through, and it was before they really tore everything out. So it was like walking into an old mansion. The carpet was still in there, everything was still in there. It just wore out. But he had it for a while. He ended up selling it to his parents, and then his parents worked on it for a while. They were living here, but the termites just were so problematic. They finally threw in the towel and said, forget it, let's just sell it. So then I had the opportunity to buy it. I was so happy.
Right. How old is it, the boat?
It's an 87.
87.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's older than me.
Yeah. It's really something. And I mean, it's definitely, it's never going to be the pristine yacht it once was. I can't commit that kind of money to it. It would just be foolish. It's almost foolish for me to go as far as I've gone right now, because even at this point, with the purchase price and what I've put into it, I'm probably at around $250,000 right now, and that doesn't count any of my time to have worked on it all of this time, which I could have went and got a job with my captain's license and made probably at least $150,000 during this period of time. Which a good boat, if this boat was in good condition, you could probably find it for low end maybe 350,000,
right.
High end maybe like 750. So, and that's an old boat, like an old boat, an insurance company doesn't even want to touch it. They just don't want to do it. So if you got that kind of cash, just cash, you're an interesting kind of person. But you could also take that kind of cash as a down payment towards $1 million boat, which is very nice, and not deal with something from the 80s. There's just you got to be a right kind of buyer, and the boat's got to be in a right kind of condition, which is how I ended up with it.
It's a great idea, frankly, to invest in this sort of boat and the experience.
Oh yeah.
Because when I was Googling for places where to stay here, in keywords, I was like, I found this and I was like, absolutely yes.
Yeah.
I get to stay, in a boat for a night at least. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm telling all my friends, they're all so jealous back home. And they're like, what do you mean that you're spending a night in a boat? I was like, I know.
Yeah.
Like, you've got friends there? Do you know anyone? I was like, no, really.
Well, there's a lot of boats out here for rent. That's what I've been doing for the last 8 years, is renting out boats on the water, in one type of boat or another. This is the most fun listing for me. Even though this particular boat is only, you guys are like I think the 7th night that I've had on this boat. It's only been up for a couple weeks.
Okay.
But the other boat, I ran probably close to 3,000 guests through that boat over the course of 3 years. And it was after a while, your first 1,000 guests, you're like, oh my God, I gotta do this again. But it was unique and fun because of the social interaction. The other boats, you pretty much, they get dropped off and that's it. They do their thing, they have their fun, and then they leave. It's just hospitality business, really. So yeah, this is fun, and again, it comes to that kind of charm. If this was a very nice boat and you were just staying in a very nice boat, that would be great and all, but it's not the same experience.
Yeah.
I think of it. Have you guys seen Fight Club?
Yes.
A little bit.
So do you remember they were squatting in that old house?
Yeah.
Like it was just run down garbage house. But something about that is just fun. Like when you're a kid and you're making a fort out of garbage, and it's so cool because it's your fort, and it's sustainable somehow in your affordability.
I think one of the reasons why I chose to stay here for the night was precisely that you were, because I read your bio and you explained how you were, building the whole thing, and I just thought the idea was brilliant, and I was like, I want to.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Because you're like contributing to
the community,
the whole thing,
yeah, absolutely.
It's like a project, you're part of the project.
What did you think, Van? Why'd you hear?
Actually, one of my friends suggested that there is a boat in the ocean, and you should explore that. So I just check it on the Airbnb.
Was it one of your friends who stayed?
I guess so.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it from what was her name?
He's from
Sunny?
California.
Okay, yeah. Those were the first. That was the first group of guests that I had.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They were fun.
Yeah.
It's funny. And you happen to be here too.
Yeah.
That's a small world, isn't
yeah,
it?
it is. So how much you have to spend to like for a month for this
You mean to like work on it?
to maintain it?
To maintain it? So I have a rule of thumb on that. And for any boat, I say the rule of thumb is for every 1 foot of boat that you have, you need to put away $100 a year.
Oh.
So this is 93 feet. I need $9,300 a month or a year to just regular maintain. That's not including, obviously I need to finish the salon. That's extra. That doesn't count stuff on the engine. The engine has another rule of thumb, which is for every dollar you put in for gas, you got to put in $1 for wear and tear. Well, this diesel, I should say in this case. So for this boat, it gets approximately two and a half gallons per mile. So it's super expensive to go.
Yeah, it
everywhere.
is.
I think I averaged it out. It was like $25 a mile is what it cost me to drive this anywhere. So I don't take it anywhere. It just sits here. Because like even if I have to go to the fuel dock right here, just right here in town, which is, you know, I have to make a loop. I have to go around because I have that flat I was telling you about.
Yeah.
So I got to loop up and around. It's like 5 miles. You got to go up and around
Wow.
5 miles. 5 miles back. That's 10 miles.
Shit.
$250 to go to the fuel dock. That's not even. I didn't even have fun. It was just like to go empty out the holding tank or something,
Yeah.
get fuel. But it's, you know, that's the thing about boats like this. You know, there was a time in their life where they were rented out for like $10,000 a week as a charter, plus fuel. And you had a crew on board and you catered meals and all that opulence, but no more. Now we're reaching the bottom of the barrel as a hostel. But, you know, I don't think this boat has had so much fun on it. You know, I often think about it. Like, I fell in love with my boat. Like, as weird as it is to fall in love with an inanimate object, I did. And I often thought, if this boat had a soul, what would it feel like in those last, whatever it was? I think I ended up owning it for about 4 years before I sold it. And I often thought that it probably was the best years of that boat's life. The most fun, the most appreciation that was ever given to that boat was during that period of time. And I think that's true for this one too. So yeah, that's what makes it special, man,
Yeah.
for sure.
How did you get the inspiration to like do this kind of stuff? Because it's a very, very unique thing.
Yeah.
I haven't heard
Yeah.
it.
So
Yeah.
that's funny. So I bought that boat over there first, and at that time, what I had was a nice power boat, like a small power boat that I was renting on Airbnb. And then I had my little sailboat that I was living on, which wasn't nice, but it wasn't garbage either. It was just an average boat, maybe a little bit less than average. And then I bought that boat, which was it was a ship. Like, I was only ever used to boats. So then I got this ship, thinking that it was just too good of a deal to pass up. You know, it was like, by the time I paid for everything, it was like $20,000 or something for this enormous ship. And I got it thinking, I'm going to fix it up and do charters with it. That's what I'll do. And then I brought it down from Miami, anchored it up for the night in the middle of the night. And in the middle of the night, the anchor started dragging loose, and we dragged the boat into the 7 Mile Bridge. Did you guys drive down here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that really long bridge that you
Yeah.
came
Yeah.
across? That's the 7 Mile Bridge. That's the one the boat drug into it, and the mast hit the bridge, and then came around on its side, and then the current started pushing the boat underneath, so it was like tipping over and like sinking. And the Coast Guard got it and pulled it off, but when they pulled it off, the mast was stuck in one of the joints of the bridge, so it snapped it in half.
Oh my God.
So it came down and smashed the rail. It was horrendous. And that was the first 48 hours I owned the boat. Busted the mast off like a toothpick, just snap. And so I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? What did I get into? And then I think it was the next day or a couple days later, and I'm like trying to recover from the chaos and like, it's okay, you know, I can still make this work somehow. And a rainstorm came, and so I went down inside the boat to get out of the rain, and then I started hearing running water, and I'm like, where's that water coming from? I'm looking around, and there's water just streaming in from the ceiling because it's a steel boat, so they put wood over top of the steel deck, and they ran screws in to hold the wood down. And like every single screw hole was rusted through, and water was just coming inside the boat. God, now I have to tear all of the wood off the deck, replace all of the steel that's there, before I can do anything. I mean, that's like a 9-month job just to do all of that, you know, and let alone money I already didn't have. I just spent literally everything I had to get the boat.
Right.
So I was pretty frustrated with the whole situation, and a buddy of mine said, dude, just rent it out like this. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, there's literally not anywhere to go. I didn't even have a bathroom installed on it. It was really bad. Actually, you know what? If you went on to Facebook, I have a Facebook page for that boat, and now it's this boat. But I have pictures from the first day I took of the inside and how bad it was. But, you know, he's like, yeah, just rent it out. Well, I'm thinking of it like with my power boat. It's a nice power boat, and I rent it out to families, and they live there, and it's their thing for their vacation. Like, I can't rent this out to anybody for this condition. But one night I was sitting outside on the back deck thinking about things, and what am I going to do with this boat? And I thought, whatever, it'll come to me. But what I do miss is having a fire from Pennsylvania. When I was living in Pennsylvania, we had campfires all the time. And I'm looking at where my mast was, and I'm like, well, this whole back deck area now is huge. I could put a fire pit here, which would be cool, because then I could have my friends come, and we could hang out and have drinks and just sleep on the deck, because it was summertime when all this was happening. And in the summertime, it's so hot that you don't sleep inside your boat anyway. Like, you have to sleep outside because it's just too hot inside unless you have air conditioning. So I'm thinking in my head, yeah, we'll get together, we'll have the fire, we'll hang out, we'll drink, we'll have fun, and we'll just sleep on the deck. And then the light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, this doesn't need to be a nice accommodation for a family. This needs to be a place to hang out and have the genuine Key West boat life experience. That's cool. And then I'll just make it cheap, and I'll offset the cheap part with volume of customers, because I mean, there's just nowhere to spend, or there's nowhere to stay here that's affordable. It's all expensive. So I was like, all right, well, it isn't going to hurt me to make a listing. And so I just like laid out some pads that I had. They were like, they weren't even bed pads, they were chair cushions. And I just covered them with the sheet so it looked like a bed, you know. And I bought this cheap little fire pit on Craigslist. It was half of a fire pit actually, and for like $15. Put it all together, took all the pictures and stuff, had my buddy sitting there playing guitar, you know, and people started booking it. And I was like, oh boy, how's this gonna go? Because I mean, like, I had never done anything like this before. And the first group of people that stayed, I was scrambling to install the toilet for them. It was these two girls, and I couldn't finish it. Like, I was missing one piece for the toilet. So I felt so bad. I had to go to them and be like, I'm so sorry, but I can't get the toilet fixed here, you guys. I'll take you back, you know, I'll give you a refund. And they're like, oh no, we didn't expect there was going to be a toilet in the first place. I was like, okay, well, here's the bucket, you know. Nice. So that's fine. We're used to camping, we're paying a bucket. That's all right. So that's what they did. And then the next day I got the toilet fixed. So then I had a different group stay. And but the girls that night, they were like, we loved it. We loved sitting out under the stars. It reminded us when we were kids, and we laughed all night long. It was just beautiful. It's like, all right, cool. I mean, and you get that sometimes. There's just some really cool people, like, you can't dampen their spirits, right? And I thought, it's just a fluke. So then the next people came, and they had a similar experience. They were like, it was so beautiful and peaceful, and it was fun, and thank you. Okay. And then the third night, I had two different groups of guests that didn't know each other show up. And I'm like, well, how do I do this? I have no idea. So like, I'm sitting there and I'm trying to do the fire, thinking, like, really nervous, because I'm supposed to be the professional here. Like, everybody's looking at me like, this is the guy who's in charge. He knows what he's doing.
In a
setting
setting like this, you need social skills.
Yeah, I'm like, and I didn't know.
skills.
Yeah, I didn't have any of that. I mean, well, not that I didn't. I mean, I could do it, but it was fresh, you know. And again, it was just this pressure of all of it on my shoulders. And all right, well, we started talking. We started talking about stuff, and just naturally became a conversation, you know. And so at that time, I didn't live on the boat. I lived on my boat. So I said goodnight to them, and I went to my boat. And then the next morning, I had to get up and go get them. I'm like, I hope they're all still alive and not one of them killed the other or something like that. Who knows what kind of murder I could be walking in on. And I got there, and they're crying and hugging each other and stuff. And I'm like, what happened? And they're like, it was so beautiful. We had such a good time, and we made friends we'll have forever. And I was like, wow, all right, that's weird.
Bonding experience.
Yeah, so, but it kept happening night after night after night, and it got easier and easier, and then I realized, like, I'm overthinking it. Like, people just want to have a good time. They just want to hear some stories and get to know each other, and as I did it more and more, I realized the beauty of what I was doing, because, like, I didn't seek this. I didn't know this was going to happen. I discovered it by accident, and that is this, I don't want to say it like this necessarily, but I will. To be able to capitalize on the commodity of a social experience is something you don't really see in our society.
Yeah.
I mean, there are hostels like in Europe and stuff. That's a common thing. Hostels are definitely less common in the U.S., but they do exist here and there. But even the ones that I've been to, it's a different type of experience because they're on land. You can go. And people do. They just go to the restaurants, they go to the bars, they're coming and going. They don't really talk too much. This is different because you're stuck here. Like, where are you going to go? You're literally stuck here. And on that boat, it was way worse, like I said, because they didn't even have cabins. It was like the fire was where you were going to sleep. So you had no choice but to hang out. So it was really awesome to get that sense of community from this type of listing and be able to provide that to the other guests. And it wasn't just the sense of community either. It was granted, sleeping outside in the rain sucks, but sleeping outside under the stars when the weather is nice is amazing. Yeah. And so many people have never slept outside without something covering over, like even if it's just a thin tent sheet, they always slept outside. But I'm telling you, so many times I could see the difference from the people who showed up that afternoon to the people who left that following morning. They were different people. It rewired their brain to think in a way that they just didn't experience before. Mm-hmm. And I sort of see that now. It's a little different. It's not as impactful here because, again, this is a little bit more posh. But it still is something because a lot of people who come here, they've never even been on a boat. Certainly never spent a night on a boat. Yeah. And so when you wake up in the morning, and again, I'm sorry you guys got here in the night, that you didn't really get to see that whole experience getting here. But I'm telling you, when you see it in the morning, the peacefulness and the serenity, it's special. It's a special thing. And I love it. That's why I keep subjecting myself to this type of a lifestyle, is that's what makes up for the hardship.
But still, it was quite a nice experience as we were coming on the little boat, because obviously it's very dark now, but you can still see the stars.
Yeah.
And it's funny how every single boat has a light on top of the pole.
Yep, the anchor
and in
light.
a way, all the little boats in a way like mirror the sky. So you've got stars on top and the stars at the bottom. So it's actually quite nice.
Yeah.
It's like a mirroring effect there.
Yep.
And speeding through the darkness, that's actually quite a nice experience as well. It was fun.
Yeah.
I quite liked it.
Good.
And we were heading into, because we kept seeing all the boats, we went past them, and this was like the very last one. I was like, okay, at some point it was like, where are we going? Like, we're heading into the darkness.
Yes.
Really nice. It's quite a magical experience already.
Yeah, I remember hosting some different groups of girls that were really uncomfortable about that feeling of just heading out into the darkness with some unknown stranger, and all the lights they're falling away, and they're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was nice. I quite liked it myself.
Van, have you spent time on boats before?
Not like night, but yeah, sometimes I did it. So I went to Alaska last time, for 18 days.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It's a very a strange story. So I was asking my friends from last 3 years that can you guys please join me for the Alaska trip. They were all ditching me at every year. So this time I ditched them. I didn't ask them to join me or not. So I just got into the Facebook and I asked a couple of random people that can we go over there. So 50 to 60 people had joined it, and then after that 15 people we get together on the Alaska, and then we hire someone, and then we ask them that can you create the customized plan for us to around
like the
Alaska.
outfit.
Yeah. So they did that, and then we were going into the bus for 18 days, and it was awesome.
Yeah. What part of Alaska were you in?
Seaward. I was there, and what else there? There were so many. Anchorage.
Yep. Is that where you flew in? Was Anchorage?
Yeah, Anchorage and Seabird. And then there were some of the places like I forgot the name over there, but we saw the Northern Lights.
I want to see the Northern Lights.
yeah.
so
Me
bad.
too.
You never seen them?
Never.
Yeah, me neither.
So you know why the Northern Lights are very famous, because you can see the Northern Lights from only Apple.
Wow, what?
Yeah, it doesn't capture this Samsung. What the fuck?
Really?
Seriously. We were recording over there. I can show you the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So it was very funny story over there. So then I went to like in different boats, and then I saw some of the like icebergs, and it was like it was.
Did you get to see any whales? They have whales
Yes,
up there, right?
whales were there, sea lions were there. Yeah, it was superb.
I haven't gotten to see any whales. The only water mammals I've seen are the manatees and the dolphins here, which are cool. I mean, I don't want to talk shit on the manatees and dolphins, but I'd love to see some whales. So Gabriel, you grew up in Spain, huh?
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, you're from Spain,
Yeah, I'm
but
Spanish. Yeah.
grew up in
in
UK.
Spain. No, in Spain. Yeah.
Oh.
And when I was 18, I moved to the UK to study uni.
How did you end up with such an accent, though? That's so
They
odd.
forced it on me. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
What part of Spain?
It's a very small place called Burgos.
In
It's in
relationship-
northern Spain.
Okay.
Yeah, so close to Bilbao.
Okay. Yeah,
Halfway
yeah.
between Madrid and Bilbao. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a bit of in the middle of nowhere, very rural area,
Mm-hmm.
so nothing much around. The sea is very far from when I.
Yes.
I
Pretty
go, yeah.
landlocked. Yeah.
So the sea's always been, this magical thing for me.
Yeah.
My grandma was from Minorca, the little Mediterranean
Yeah,
island. there,
yeah,
so
yeah.
We
Mhm.
used to go there every summer to visit my family there. So still that connection with the sea. But
Yeah.
still, it's magical. It's one of the reasons why I decided to come here tonight. Because
There
it's
you go.
like,
It's the best way to do it.
Never spent a night on a boat. I've been on a boat before.
This is a tough one. I mean, there's so many ways to stay on a boat, right? You could be on a cruise ship, which is not a boat at all. And you could be on...
I've done ferries.
Yeah, you could be on a
from-
ferry, and that's
yeah.
not really a boat either. And
Yeah.
This is a
This
boat.
is something different. Yeah,
But
obviously.
it's
It is different,
this
yeah.
is a big boat. Like the smaller boats are a very different experience. Everything is so compact that you have to deal with that. Like you can't stand up tall. Like you could, but I can't. No offense. It's good for you.
It's because I'm Indian.
No,
Yeah,
I
we
met
are
some pretty tall
short-heighted.
Indians.
We are short-heighted. I know that. So in India, like if there is like one bedroom apartment, so there would be at least 7 or 8 people are living over there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
so we are the habitual for it.
Right. Yeah. That's evolution.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, the small boats are a different type of life because you feel all the motion. Like you are more connected to the behavior of the sea than you are on one
Yeah.
like this.
Yes.
Like you can feel this one kind of rocking a little bit, but if we were on a small one, we'd be like, well,
Yeah.
I mean, you were just on one. It's not much different than that. It's a little more stable, but damn, it is quite a bit different.
One of my best friends is from Venice,
Mm.
and which sounds very posh, but it's not the case.
Yeah, I've heard that about
but
Venice.
People actually live in Venice because it's a city.
Yeah.
And obviously boats are an integral part to the city, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
it's got canals, and it's really funny because you've got ambulances, which are boats, and you've got taxis obviously are boats.
Sure, yep.
Everything is a boat, convertible to boat, which is wonderful. And I've been there a couple of times, and they party on boats, and it's such a fundamental thing to the life of the city.
Yeah.
Once a year, they celebrate the end of the plague. I was back from I
The
don't know,
Black Plague. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It began in the 18th century, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But they keep doing it as the main festivity, especially for the locals. And they tie together boats, and they just dine in there, and then they've got like a firework show,
Wow.
and they just hang out there on the water.
Wow.
It's really, really nice. It's called the Il Redentore. It's really quite remarkable. The Redeemer, which is the translation. Jesus the Redeemer. In mid-July, it's quite something beautiful, and everyone, just on the boat, having dinner with your friends, drinking a bit, afterwards. and you spend hours and hours there. And even if you need to go to the toilet, you just jump off board and you
Do your
thing,
thing.
and then back on board. Yes.
Venice is beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
So quaint.
Yeah.
Guess they didn't learn much about the Black Plague and sanitation.
You wear your swimsuit, just to clarify. You don't actually.
Oh, no solids.
Yeah.
Liquids only.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
So what are you guys doing? Like, what's your purpose of your trips? I mean, it's after Christmas, so I guess it's not Christmas necessarily, right?
I'm holiday
Yeah.
since last 25 days.
Mm.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. He's like, I'm going to Alaska for 3 weeks. I'm gonna go down to
Yeah.
wherever here. And
So yeah, actually I had some of the paid time off, so I thought I should take it. Otherwise, it will be like vanished
oh, really? You
yeah,
don't
at the
even
end
get
of
to
the
roll
year.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
So I went to Dallas for a couple of days, like 10 days, and then I come to here to
Mhm,
celebrate the New Year, and then yeah, that's all.
How about you?
Well, it was my first Christmas away from home, and I decided to stay because I'm going there actually in a few weeks. So it was too much back and forth. So I decided to stay here in the States, first Christmas away, and then it was very cheap to travel this very first week of January.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Post-holiday lull.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
And
way
I
to
was
go.
like, take the opportunity, take the chance. It's now or never. And everything was reasonably affordable.
Mhm.
Also Miami,
Yeah.
which was good because I
Yep,
just
yep.
think otherwise I could have done everything they've done
Yeah.
these days here.
Yeah.
And it's been great, honestly, because they told me it was very cold the last 2 weeks, right? It was like
yeah.
2 cold fronts and something.
Yeah, it was a lot of rain more than
Right.
anything. I mean, it was cold for sure, but the wind, the rain and the wind were pretty
Right.
bad for the first part of
Whereas it's
December.
been reasonably warm like,
Mhm.
these
Yeah,
last days.
no,
I mean,
it's not been bad.
I went to the beach and actually
Yeah, if you
Went
can
for a
stay
swim.
out of the wind and you can catch some sun, it's hot.
yes.
Like that's my problem with these. It's not exactly a buffer season. It's definitely winter. But if I'm sitting in the sun, I'm hot. But as soon as I get on my boat and I got to go anywhere, I got to get my leather jacket on because it's cold. And then I'm sweating in there because it's still sunning. I'm still getting the sun. It's just I don't like it. I can't wait till April rolls around. Mid-April, end of April, the water starts warming back up. The temperatures stay steady. Like that's the time. I'd say the month of April and the month of like half October through November, the temperatures are so good. You don't need the air conditioner anymore, but it's not so cold. Like this is cold. I actually kicked the heater on for the guests for a little bit because I don't keep blankets on the boat. I did order some just because my buddy was like, you got to have blankets. People just want that as a comfort more than just
Yeah.
warmth.
That's true.
Which I agree, but it's hard to wash laundry here. I want to wash the blankets. I'm not just going to give people blankets that are dirty, but to wash all these blankets, I'm not charging very much money. I got a lot of expenses. But anyway, point is, I ran the heater for the last week, and I don't have heat. I sleep in the forward cabins right now. They're not finished out yet, so and neither is my cabin. And there's no heat up there right now, so those cold mornings, man, I'm just like, oh, it's rough.
Yeah. And it's colder at sea, I would imagine, because
The humidity. The humidity is what makes it cold. If it was dry air, it would be pleasant. Really nice. But yeah, April, right, probably I would say before the middle of May. Because once you've hit mid-May and on, that's air conditioning time. You got to kick that baby on, and you don't shut it off until mid-October.
Can we see the stargazing over here?
Yeah, if you go out on the bow, that's going to be the best spot. It's like you can't see the Milky Way from here.
Yeah.
I don't know about the clouds either. You might have, because there was a decent amount of clouds today.
Yeah, a little bit. But we can see the 7 stars.
Yeah, you can see the main ones.
Yeah, here.
You can see Orion is right there.
Did you see like beautiful stargazing before over here?
I have, but again, it's not so much here because you still get to all this light
because of
pollution.
these. So
But you go about 10 miles further west, it's beautiful, and you can definitely see the Milky Way on a clear night. The whole thing
wow.
is just like whop right there. It's beautiful. I love it. And you take some good pictures with the the slow shutter speed. Oh, it's so wonderful, so wonderful. And I love it too when you're out there in the ocean and it's a calm night, like just glass, and there's not a wave on the surface, right? And you're floating there, and it's clear sky. The stars come all the way down around you to the horizon line. Everywhere you look, there's just stars, and then they start reflecting off of the water too, so it looks like there's stars on the water. Oh, so
That must be
beautiful.
magical.
Yeah, so beautiful. So what do you do for work that gives you so much time off?
Can you guess?
Something with computers.
Yeah, you're right. Indians are on.
How did I know? If you didn't say
you
computers,
are stereotyping me. I know.
if I didn't say computers, I was gonna say call center.
Because most of the scammers are from India. I know that.
No, not the scammer.
No,
Well,
they
maybe,
are. I'm
maybe, yeah.
seriously.
Well, but
They are.
because the disparity, the financial disparity in your country
Yeah.
is pretty wide.
Yeah,
right?
it
Like you
is.
got people who are dirt poor and people who are immensely wealthy.
Yep.
You know, here at least, you know, there's like the poor people still have money.
Yeah.
You know, even because they're panhandling. Dude, they make more money than I make. Sitting on this corner, you know, bumming for change. They make a couple $100 a day.
Yeah.
But they're not as hungry for scamming. You know, the scammers, I think, that come from our country, they're just nefarious people. They just want to do scamming. But I feel like there's also people out there that are like, it's do or die for me.
Yeah.
I'm either gonna, you know, make this happen or I'm not. Like a pirate. Like I'm just a pirate, you know, in Somalia.
Yeah.
They have no choice almost but to go rob a
Yeah.
ship.
So I work in a bank. So generally, like the old systems which you guys see it like old of the system banking systems.
Like
have you
Unix-
seen that?
Unix box?
Yeah. So we transfer into the cloud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
now-
migrations.
Yeah.
Oh,
migration
okay.
stuff I do that.
That's why you get the good money.
Yeah.
Smart. Smart.
So there are like
Yeah.
currently like more than 30,000 users. We have to migrate all those users into the old system to the new system.
I see.
Currently these guys are using like 12 different windows, and we are combining into one window and giving them the
Yeah,
very
yeah.
easy to use the software. Yeah.
Are you doing programming side of that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Do you like it?
I want to become a DJ.
Well,
All
Florida
right.
is your
Yeah.
place then.
Yeah. Pardon?
Florida is your place.
Yeah, it is. So
And
I
Miami.
will be coming for the UMF Ultra Music Festival 2024.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Some of that more vacation time there?
Yep.
When's that taking place?
It's 22, 23, 24 March.
March.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's smack dab in the middle of spring break.
Mm-hmm.
What a nightmare.
Yeah.
Spring break is so crazy here. Because there's like nowhere else for the college kids to go. You know, because they get the break from school.
Right.
So they all convene on South Florida by busloads, literal busloads of college kids that are just raring to go.
Right.
Madness. That's where my 21 rule came in for this boat. Because, you know, on this isn't like a normal Airbnb. It's a charter. It's a commercial charter because I have to be on board as the captain.
Yeah.
And because of all of that, I'm liable for everybody on board,
Right.
regardless of what's going on. So if somebody shows up here with drugs and an event happens and the authorities
Yeah.
get involved, I'm in trouble for that.
Right.
If they show up and there's a bunch of drunk kids on board, I'm in trouble for that. And you can't really police them. So I basically treat it like a bar. I mean, I'm flexible, you know, during regular normal times. You know, somebody's got, like, one of the first guests we had, she wanted to bring her 19-year-old daughter and their boyfriend. I was like, all right, that's cool. I can deal with that. But you get 12 kids on here, and
Oh.
some
Yeah.
are 21, you know, 19 to 21. And like, I'm not checking IDs and dealing with fake IDs and all that bullshit. No.
Yeah. I didn't know fake IDs were such a thing in this country.
I didn't
Yeah,
either.
me too. Yeah. I agree with that.
I
There are
was
some.
so shocked to discover that. And
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean that everyone's got one? And that actually, you know, there are people who forge them. For
Yeah.
you. Like,
Yeah.
and everyone knows this. It's like,
Yeah.
isn't it easy to just lower the age of, you know, alcohol
Yeah.
consumption?
Yeah,
Would be
that's one of
easier.
the I think a good argument that we have in this country is that you have to be at least 18 years old to go die for your country, but yet you have to be 21 to smoke and drink.
Yeah, it's very, very bizarre.
You're definitely mature enough to decide whether or not you should turn your life over to government for
Yeah.
experimentation and utter death, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure you're old enough to to drink on Mike's lemonade. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Which is, just a pint or whatever. It's a bit too harmful. It's like you're going to be drinking.
Well, like the guys we had last night were from China, and they were saying they don't even have an age in China. Like it's just sort of like controlled by the mass.
Yeah.
You know? And I said,
Very
so you don't
cultural,
have it was like you don't have just 14-year-old kids in the bar. It's like no, like they just don't. They don't do. The parents don't let that happen. So, I don't know. Gabriel, what are you doing for work?
I'm a diplomat, which is like a. It's just
Oh, you actually?
Yes, I am.
It's the voice.
It
You got
sounds-
the voice to be a diplomat. It's
no.
calming and soothing.
No, but it sounds very elegant. It's just a civil servant who happens to travel a lot and lives in different places every 4 years.
All right, so
Well, 4 years if you're lucky. It's more like 2 or 3.
oh,
Yeah.
so what is a day in the life of a diplomat in your
Oh well,
capacity?
that's a very good question because it really depends on the position you're in for that very short period of time.
Sure, yeah. So it's changing.
So, in the time that I've been a diplomat, I've done protocol, which is fun because I don't know you get to meet very important people, heads of the state and government, kings and queens and all that, which is fancy, and you get to see all these palaces and and fancy events. But when it comes to the actual work, it's about negotiating. It's about trying to achieve peace in the world. Sometimes there is a bit of that, and it really varies. It depends if you're in a geographical desk doing Middle East politics, or you are in a Latin American desk dealing with election integrity.
So do you have a direct hand in these negotiations and
Well, it depends.
peacekeeping deals?
Yeah, depends.
Wow. This is the man in
No,
charge
Yeah.
of
He
keeping
is.
peace in the world.
If only. If only. I don't know.
We need to talk
if I
about the
would
Middle
that.
East here right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
What the fuck are you doing
not.
over there?
Absolutely
Sitting here in the
not.
boat in Key West, we got all this shit going on over there. You're in the wrong place.
Yeah, indeed. I've tried to avoid that issue all my career.
Yeah, I'm
It's
sure.
not one of those topics that I'd like to specialize in at all.
So you got to meet the king and queen?
I've met, Queen of England I met.
Well,
King of Spain, of course.
Mhm.
Because when you become a diplomat back home, there's this ceremony that we do where basically the king hands you your title as a diplomat.
It's a piece of paper.
Yeah, it's a piece of paper. Yeah. But we make it very formal and nice. He's a very cool dude.
Interesting.
Very well
That's neat.
prepared. You chat with him for a little while. After that, it's
That's
quite nice.
cool.
It's charming,
Wow.
and he's a charming man as well.
How many people in your type of position are there at one time?
You mean?
Or is it just you? You're the only diplomat?
No. We're many. I think we're about several hundreds for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're a small, middle-sized nation.
Sure, yeah.
Not
yeah,
small.
yeah.
I don't know. I can't really think exact figure.
Would it be like for the duties that you have for your is it like it's not necessarily a bureau of diplomats, it would be
Ministry. Yeah.
a ministry. Okay,
Yeah.
so for your ministry, will they dispatch diplomats to like every nation, sort of like
Yeah.
what do they call it?
every-
Ambassador?
Yeah, so we have embassies and consulates. So
Okay.
consulates are for citizens,
Mm-hmm.
let's so to say. So if you, I don't know, lose your passport abroad, you
Mhm.
go to the consulate and you get a new one.
Oh, okay.
If you have a legal problem, you go to consulate and they can assist you somehow. Or they can orient you. If embassies are for state-to-state conversations, so citizens don't go there
yeah.
unless shit really goes down.
Right. Yeah. That's then there's
That
a
you don't-
problem.
you don't
yeah.
want-
You got to close the gates behind them when they come in.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's really different. Like you might be doing, visas, and do interviews to grant or deny
Oh.
visas abroad. She does.
So you work for the USCIS?
No, I don't,
You don't? Okay.
because I'm Spanish diplomat.
Okay.
No.
But do you know that what USCIS does?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But yeah, so it's really different. It's the fun of the job. They can live several lives in just one life
Oh.
and change, and and obviously see the world, because you can get posted anywhere you want. From Thailand to Bolivia to Burundi, and do very different things. You can work with the military. You can work with on trade. You can do cultural affairs, which is
Wow.
always fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very different.
And you got to move. You say every few years.
Yes, that's the perks of the job. That really takes its toll at some point. Family, friends. You keep moving.
I suppose so. Yeah.
Distance is.
What's the reason to make you move? It would seem like it would be smarter to leave you in place if you built these professional relationships.
Well, there are many different reasons. Depends on the place. Sometimes there are security reasons. You can't stay in a place for too long, because then you become a target for
Oh,
Nazi people.
Point. Yeah.
That's
And
quite
then
interesting.
because you're a
Yeah.
government representative, then they can blackmail government, not just
Yeah,
you and your
right.
family. So you become a liability. In some of the places, it's just because we all want to maybe live in Paris, for 2 years.
Right.
So you just need to let the next
Move
person,
on.
coming in, taste the experience as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just it really depends. Some places you can actually extend your stay for a little longer, and obviously there's some conciliation measures obviously
Yeah.
in place. So
So you're here on assignment in the U.S.
yes, I live in DC.
Okay, that's
Washington.
cool.
So you born in Spain and then went to UK and then
That's right.
US. For how long you were in-
No, I went back to Spain to work
Okay.
on my ministry for a few years.
For how long you're in the US?
Remains to be seen. I don't know.
Did you just get here recently?
A few months ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
How do you like DC?
It's very European in some ways.
Really?
Because you can walk to places. Because I know in the rest of the US, you tend to drive everywhere, and
Yeah.
and cars are an important part of city
Yeah.
life.
It really depends on the city.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because it's
If you're going
you
to
are right.
if you're going to NYC, you don't need the car. If you are
Yeah.
going to California, obviously you need a car. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is it's nice.
Yeah.
DC was like
And
one of the only cities I think that was ever built with foresight.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yes, we know we're going to grow, so let's not build it this tiny little box that, and then it
Right,
turns
yeah.
into these packed streets and everything, It
Yeah.
was smart.
the fun thing about this is that you've got people. Obviously, it's the capital of the
Yeah,
US,
uh-huh.
the world's most powerful nation.
Hmm.
So you've got people from all over the world. The best of the best, just coming there to talk about just anything. It
Yeah.
can be so now the hot topic in town is obviously AI, artificial intelligence. So
Oh,
everyone's
yes.
talking
Yeah.
about that, and you've got people from China, from Germany, coming to Washington to pitch their ideas to the US
Yeah.
government or to other nations there. It's really interesting.
Have you been in that conversation about AI?
I have, yeah, but
What-
because everyone has, because AI touches just virtually every single aspect
yeah,
of our
yeah,
life.
that's-
So
I'm
We
sure.
are dealing on a daily basis.
Yeah.
with
Are
the
you
AI.
are you integrating AI
Yep,
already?
yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you guys use it for?
So we use it for sales, marketing, and service. So suppose that the salesperson is going through some of the tickets or something, like they have to resolve it. So they do not have to do anything. They
Oh,
will
right.
just ask it, just create the email for that.
Yeah.
So the AI will search everything what the fuck is going on,
Right.
and then put it over there,
Yeah.
and then it will create it. So what the AI is doing, we are the developers. They are asking us to do that.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
What about the food? I have heard about like there are
The food?
beautiful places in the Washington D.C. that
yeah,
some Bangladeshi restaurants are having a really good meat.
I mean, it's good, but then again, I lived in London for 6 years. So I'm spoiled for very good Indian food.
It's not Indian, it's the Bangladeshi. There are different.
Asian food. Sorry.
Mashallah.
That was my bad. But yeah, I know it's good. I went to this place the other day with some colleagues from work. It's called I can't remember the name, but it was apparently Obama's favorite Indian restaurant, and it was actually very good.
Yeah.
It felt very authentic.
I mean, I guess you would have to because, like you said, there's all of the most powerful people in the world convening into this city.
Yeah.
You can't just have Burger King and Wendy's. You gotta have some decent food.
Even the magnitude
Yeah.
Exactly.
sucks.
That reminds me of what I heard recently in what city was that? I think it was San Francisco. Maybe it was Los Angeles. One of the cities in California that's just like got rampant homelessness problems, and
Maybe LA.
one of the politicians. I think it was San Francisco.
Okay.
One of the politicians came to town from China, like one of the bigwigs. So they cleared all the homeless people out for that purpose.
Oh my God! Seriously?
Like they could have, and they did it like that, just like that. Like they could have done that the whole time. They could have handled the homeless problem like that, but they didn't. And then they were questioned about it, like, why did you do this? Like, what the deal? And they're like, well, when you have somebody special
off.
coming to your
Yeah.
house, you clean up. Like, wow.
Wow.
Jeez,
Wow.
that's all it takes, huh? What about all the the business owners that
Yeah.
have to deal with these people living in front of their businesses?
This is
and the
two-faced
street
government,
stoops.
right?
Oh yeah, it's just asinine stuff that happens here, man. Yeah. But that's America for you. I don't know how we're the most powerful country. That's crazy to me. Wow. Maybe not for long.
But
At least it
think
is organized. The better thing is it is organized. If you go to the India, oh my God, it is so unorganized.
Yeah, that's see, that's the thing that just baffles me is how you can, like, what is it? What is it that causes one society to be one way and another
Yeah.
society to be another? And is it truly just a matter of, the collective, body of consciousness saying we will do this, and then organizing their footsteps in a sense to
Yeah.
go do those things, right? And maybe that's true. Maybe that is why why America is currently the most powerful, is because at some point we were capable of such organization, through whatever reasoning that might have been. I would tend to think that it had a lot to do with Christianity. Was like that was on everybody's thing. Like they all agreed that we're going to all follow this religion and these morals, and this is how we're going to walk together.
Yeah.
But we don't do that anymore. Like we don't have a core structure like that anymore. We're so disconnected from one another just as people as it is. It's scary to me. It's like there was a time, there was this, this structure that was built that was strong and sturdy, but it's been eroded over time by all of these issues, whatever they are, why ever, good, bad, doesn't, like that's not the point. The point is that I think we're essentially living on the inheritance of generations past who did things to set this all up, and we're fucking it up now.
Well,
we're neglecting it and ruining it.
Yeah, I suppose there's a bit of truth in that, but at the same time, as a foreigner, what I see, there's something about America that really surprises me, and it's this idea that anyone can come to America and become an American, which is not so self-evident in other places in the world, because you might move to wherever, France, Italy, Spain, and you don't automatically become Spaniard or Frenchman or Italian. And also in this country, because everyone comes from everywhere, and you can be a Muslim and a Christian or a Jew and still call yourself an American. But everyone is driven by one core belief that I found, is that we can do better. Like that is the motive for me in this country. We can do better. We can build bigger and better and stronger and faster. And that's America. And everyone is just working towards that ideal. And you don't find that anywhere else in the world, or not to the
I
same
agree
extent.
with you.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, then obviously there are some shortcomings. What strikes me the most is that you don't have universal healthcare, free and affordable, at least.
Yeah.
That education is only for the rich, high quality education anyway. Whereas that in Europe is obviously for free. It's true that we don't, let's say, that we benefit from the US military power. So we are under the protections of the US, and that's why we can enjoy, free healthcare and education. But you could spare a few dollars for that.
Oh, dude,
and it would make your nation stronger.
No, it's not about whether or not it's a good idea. It's about the fact that we have incubated this this business of healthcare.
Yeah.
And that business will not let it go. I mean, it is. They literally made a business that said, "Pay us or you will die."
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's
Yeah.
what that. The
Even the
healthcare
insurance
system-
too, right?
All of it.
Oh
you
my
know,
God,
shocking.
these are scams.
They're
Sometimes I think,
scams. Yeah, they're not even health insurance anymore.
Yep.
I was listening to Joe Rogan podcast the other day, and he was talking with, I don't remember who the guy was, but they were describing the healthcare system as managed treatment plan or something like that, where you know, it's not that you're getting the best medication or the thing that's right for you. It's that you're getting what pays the system the best.
Yeah.
You know, what works best for the system.
Yep.
That's what they're going to give you. And it makes sense, you know, when you think about it, that everything that we're doing to build better, bigger, faster, more is because when you do those things, you're creating the competitive edge and therefore will receive a reward, financial reward. And that's what we're all about. We're all about capitalism,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
appreciate capitalism. Don't get me wrong. I value that.
Yeah.
But there's, like everything, you have to put the brakes on at some point and say, whoa, 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 this is getting out of control. And healthcare, like that is like, to me, crazy that is not criminally prohibited to do such a thing.
Something should not be a market.
Yes, healthcare
and
is one.
people's health should not be
It should not be
Yeah.
at all.
a
Like,
commodity.
I heard somewhere they said that taxes, you know, in the world of taxes, when you talk about what it should be paid for, or what taxes should pay for, it's things like lighthouses and autopsies, because nobody's going to go out and build lighthouses on their own, because you can't
Yeah.
charge for a lighthouse. A lighthouse is publicly visible. It's a thing. I mean, it benefits shipping lanes and, you know, private boaters or whatever, but the government has to do it. Autopsies. Nobody's going to pay for regular autopsies, but that's a public health concern. We need to know why people are dying, because something crazy could be happening and now we're all at risk. So that's why tax dollars pay for autopsies. So I can understand that, yes, somebody will come in and be like, hey, let me make the medication and sell that. Of course, yeah, they will, but that's screwed up. Like, you can't let them do that, because that you introduce the concept of profit into a thing that there shouldn't be profit. It should be available to everyone, because we're human beings. There's rich human beings, there's poor human beings, and everybody in between. But that doesn't mean that one should be entitled to a better quality of life in that regard, like insofar
Yeah.
as their health is concerned, when it is readily available, like insulin. Fucking insulin. That's been around for how long? How many? Like a century at least?
Yeah, at least, yeah.
It's sugar water or whatever. I mean, no, I'm not a chemist but you know, it's just it's insane to me that nothing is going to be done about this, because insofar as I can tell, it's a two-party system issue. We're just stuck in this game of take all of the issues that you love and you hate, figure out which one means the most to you, and vote for that party. And whether or not the rest of that stuff ever happens doesn't matter. Like, it's immaterial to the system. The system only needs one or the other guy to win. And then, like, there's no obligation for them to do any of the stuff that they said they would do along the campaign trail. And if you don't like it, wait 4 years and vote somebody else in. And then what's it going to be? It's still there's these people, this list of people that you've never met in your life, you'll never meet. They can't represent the will of the people, because there's literally too many people to represent, to know. And even if you did know, even if you could know as a person, I know that 400,000 people want it this way and 300,000 want it that way. You know, why are we putting that obligation onto the shoulders of a single person? I mean, as I talk about this, I always end up in this thing like, oh, we ought to be a democracy. And I realize that there's impracticalities that go along with that, for sure, absolutely. And it's fraught with potential failures, for
Yeah.
sure. But I would prefer those failures that are within our control over the failures of a rigged system that we can't change. You know what I mean? Like, to take, for example, abortion. Abortion is a topic that everybody's got an opinion on. Whether or not you have a uterus, you still have an opinion on abortion. But as divisive as a topic as that is, I bet you 80% of the population would sit down and agree on 80% of the abortion issue. They're going to say things like, if a woman is on, the surgery table and she's going to die if she doesn't get this abortion, should we make that legal or illegal? And they're like, well, obviously that's life and death situation. Of course, you allow her to do what she's got to do to survive if that's her choice. Okay, well, there you go. We found some common ground. Is that going to solve the whole issue? No, but it's a piece of it. So let's take that one and we're done with that one. And then we move on to the next one. Okay, 14-year-old girl was raped in an alley and now she's pregnant. Do we let her get an abortion? I mean, that's kind of her deal. It's going to really screw up her life. And I would say maybe 70% of us would say, yeah, that should be all right. You know, and as we get further and further, we get less and less. And at some point, I think we reach that 20% figure that is contentious and will always be contentious because we can't all agree. And at that point, we just accept that we're deadlocked here. And because we can't move forward, we're not going to move forward until something else breaks and there's an epiphany and we're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go a little bit further then. But as it is now, the status quo, it never gets fixed. Why should it get fixed? Because it's a divisive issue that helps polarize the nation and make you vote one way or another. They don't want it to be. That would be terrible. It's purposeful. And it's sad because that's our lives that they're fucking with. And the people who are, you know, I hate to say this because now I start sounding like conspiracy people, but, you know, it's the people who are elite. The ones, and by elite, I mean the ones who have the financial means to basically do whatever they want. If they're the ones whose daughter is pregnant, they have the resources to take them to Tijuana and get an abortion or whatever. Like they can completely circumvent every law that they make themselves, even if they just bury it under the rug and pay off the police. They have the means to do it. Meanwhile, we're stuck dealing with the things that they imposed upon us for whatever reasons. It's not even, I don't even think it's most of it's in the reason of what's face value. It's more of, I don't know. It's all just, there's so much stuff that goes on behind closed doors. I'm sure you know, as working in the worlds that you work, you see that not everything is face value. Very few things are actually face value. But that's my rant on that. I get pretty worked up over this whole thing about our political situation in this country. And the thing that makes me the most angry, I'll finish with this, is that in school we're taught that we are a democracy. Like that's basically what we're taught.
I didn't know that.
But we're not a democracy.
Yeah.
We're a republic.
Obviously, yeah.
We're a republic that is democratically elected. And like, yeah, that's not the same thing. That's if we're going to be a republic, that means we do essentially have kings and queens, lords, or whatever you want to call them, and we get to vote which ones decide. And yeah, that's better than not getting to vote, but that doesn't necessarily make us a democracy. This isn't the land of the free, and I think if you would have told the guys who fought for this nation, who lived and died to protect us, and said, hey, listen, you're fighting for, let's be clear what we're fighting here, they'd be like, oh, well, I don't really like that. Like, I'm willing to fight and die for my children, my wife, my parents, my neighbors, my family members, whatever, my neighbor. But I'm not really on board with dying so that people in power can continue to hold power.
Yeah.
And keep these issues from being resolved in the public. It just drives me nuts, man. Drives me nuts. Thanks for letting me rant on that.
No, which one?
You guys are such good listeners.
Oh, it's a good knowledge session. I like it.
Yeah. What do they have in India? What is the political system?
Democracy, but it all depends on the government.
The largest democracy in the world.
Yeah.
You're voting this year. Well,
I never voted.
Almost everyone is voting this year. More than half of the world's population is voting this year.
Is that right?
Yeah, because the US has election, the EU has election, India is voting, everyone. Russia's voted, I think, as well. I mean, not that it matters.
Voted, in air quotes.
Yeah, elections everywhere in the world. They call it electoral super year.
Wow.
What do you guys brought for the dinner?
Say it again?
What do you guys brought for the dinner?
I have sandwiches. Like I said, sandwiches and yogurt.
I hope it's not your dinner.
This is my dinner. Because I had dinner
An
before
apple?
coming here. Yeah, because it's already, 8:30.
Okay. We started our dinner at 10.
Oh, what time you were asking?
10. No. I'm asking like what you guys got the dinner.
Oh, okay.
For, yeah.
Yeah, my dinner time is usually
7:30.
Well, now it's all out of whack because I've been hosting. It used to be around 6, I would say, 6
Oh,
or
wow.
6:30. And then I was usually in bed by 10, but I've been having mornings or late nights like all over. I think when your friends were here, we didn't get to bed until like almost 2 o'clock, which is super late for me. And then I was up at 7.
That's the Spanish way of life as well.
Is it really?
Very late, yes.
Well, you do siesta, right?
Well, not really. I mean,
No.
no one does it anymore. But
That's too bad.
that's the ideal of, yeah, I mean, no, maybe in Saturdays you do.
They taught us that in English or Spanish class. In
That we do like,
Yeah.
every day.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I
No,
wish.
that was a
If
thing.
only. If
they were
only.
like, they told us that everybody or like all the school kids go home for like 2 hours every day.
Well, that used to be the case. I mean, I used to go to, back home like in the middle of the day, and then you go back
Oh shit, I
for
forgot.
the evening session.
I forgot I'm getting old. So that was like 20 years ago that they taught
Yes.
that. Shit, that was even longer than that. God damn it.
Yeah, but that was for a very brief period of time, because then it was just 9 to 2, and that was it. That
And then
was
just go
school.
home.
And then you went home, yeah. But you would have lunch at 2, 2:30, which is very late in European
Oh yeah, yeah,
standards.
that's light. That's really light.
Um,
There was no, so like between 9 and 2 you didn't eat?
yes, we have like a short break, and then you have a sandwich,
Damn.
bocadillo, for the break at 11.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not ideal. And then when I moved to the UK, obviously I changed, and I adapted to the British way of life.
Mm-hmm.
Way better, and that's the one I've stuck
Tea and crumpets then, right?
Indeed.
Replace this siesta with tea and
to.
crumpets.
And the disco's meal deal with sandwich, crisps, and a drink.
Are you done with that? Do you need one more?
I'm still nursing.
Okay.
I'm getting close to the bottom. I'm a slow drinker. Always have been. What part of India do you come from?
Have you been to there?
Nope.
I
So whatever you tell me, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah. mhm." All I know is there's like a south and a north, and the south is really hot, north is nice.
I only know the Golden Triangle,
Okay.
which is very twisty, I know. But
So I'm in the middle of the India. It's called
Okay.
Madhya Pradesh.
Is that?
Have you? Yeah, it's a
Fine,
middle.
it's not gonna matter. I'm not gonna know.
Just understand, like it is Kansas of United States.
Well,
Kansas.
Yeah,
Oh,
you know what's
it's
interesting?
in middle, right?
It just occurred to me that all these times that I've always asked people where they're from, and I never know where they're from. Even people from the U.S., they tell me, and I'm like, But now these podcasts are being recorded. People could listen and be like, "Hey, I'm from
Yeah.
there. I know where that's at."
you should get a poster with a map of the world,
Yes.
and people should pin.
Yes,
Yes.
I'd like to do that.
Good
So
point
you know
with it.
when you go downstairs and there's that narrow corridor that goes to the mirrored door, right in there. That's a perfect place to put the map on the wall because you can't really.
Awesome.
That's just the engine room in there. So there's nothing you can do in there anyway. I would love to do that. Yeah, for sure. Because I've had people from all over the place. Actually, the
Wow.
one thing that I didn't have of all of those people I hosted from all those different cultures, I never had any Austrians on board. I don't think I did, but now I did. Finally had some Austrians.
Nice.
Oh, that reminds me.
From how long you are like renting this board?
This one, I bought this boat in
April.
April of 22. And
Funny.
I've been working on it since then. That boat I bought in, I think I actually bought that boat in April also of 16.
Wow.
16? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 16.
So approximately how many guests you have like
On this
hosted?
one?
Yeah.
On this boat, it hasn't been very many. Like I said, this is like the 7th night that I've had people.
All over, like if you include.
Oh, but if you include everybody, yeah.
more than 100.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No,
Wow.
on that boat alone was probably about
300,
3,000.
is that right?
3,000?
3,000, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my
For
God.
3 years. 3 years,
Wow.
3.5 years. No, was it 3.5? Because I started in July of 16. And I worked it till
You
the
mean
pandemic.
to say that like every day someone is coming over here and you
Used to
will be
be.
hosting?
It used to be that
Oh
way.
my
yeah.
God.
Yeah, it was all the time. I had no money. Like, I had to do it. There's just no choice in the matter. I was
So how
paycheck to paycheck.
you're getting the different stories every time, or you just keep repeating the same stories?
You know, that's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah.
So with that, initially, this is actually how I got good at talking.
Storytelling.
Yeah, because after the first couple of months, it was routine. It just flowed, and I got the ability to adjust and tweak and all the little stuff, And
I was a tour guide for a while to pay for my university studies.
Same thing.
And it is, and it's true that after a while, it's like, okay, another group of people, and, the same joke with the Americans, the same joke with the French, and you go to these plays, and the same joke with the Germans, whatever. But it's true because people come from very different places, and they are all very different. You can still manage to make it special, even
Absolutely.
Also for yourself, because otherwise you get bored.
Absolutely, and that's what I do.
It's cookies.
Later, thank you.
I'm good. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm good.
I'll finish the apple first.
But no.
Apple a day.
That's what I do. I mean, people always bring an interesting thing, and you just got to dig a little bit to find out what that thing is. Everybody's story is a little different, and there's pieces that stitch together. I guess, when I did it for probably the first year, it was interesting to me. The second year, I think I was getting burned out because, there was no change on the horizon for me. It was just, I was resigned to that life. And I wasn't getting ahead. I was barely holding my own, financially speaking. And I think it was in the second year, Hurricane Irma happened, and I went from having a total of 11 boats of various shapes, sizes, and conditions to having one. All I had left was that boat. And that was a tough time because I went from having very little back to having almost nothing. And then the business slowed down a lot because people looked over at Puerto Rico, which was beat up by the hurricane, and thought that was everything in the Keys. And Key West didn't get that beat up. I mean, it did. We got our lumps, but we were up and operating pretty quickly. So I ended up having to take some work doing just like captaining, just regular captaining work, which was nice, I guess, because I got to sort of have like a regular job where I just go out in the daytime, do my thing, and then I come home at night.
Yeah.
But, I would say in the last year that I was hosting, that was more difficult because I was beginning my transition away from that type of business and more into this Tiki Suites business, which again, you guys haven't seen it this morning, but you'll see it, tonight. You'll see it in the morning. I have these 2 tiki houses that I built that are anchored right beside us here. And that's the business that I've been running for I started that one in 2019, right before the pandemic. And that business ran really well through the pandemic time. And I was able to use the profits from that to get this boat and fix it. And it's what's been keeping the lights on. But as things are now slowing down from the pandemic, thank God I have this boat and I'm able to run it because I need to offset the cost somehow. And those are expensive boats. They're like $749 a night for the Grand and $649 for the original.
Wow.
And they're worth it. They're priced appropriately, maybe a little bit high maybe, but not a lot. So I've got to keep it. I can't just drop my prices back. Otherwise, repairs that I inevitably have to make on those, I won't be able to afford to do. So it's easier for me just to have less nights booked and hold my rate than it is for me to lower my rates and then wear the things out faster. This boat, though, is different. If I can get things going well, by volume, I can keep my price cheap, which, for a solo person, you're not going to find a better deal than this, even with paying for the half of the water shuttle is still being out here on the water, having a bed, having an engagement. It's in a league of its own for sure. And I want to keep it just right there. And if I can get enough people staying, then by volume, I'll be able to have the money I need to continue to fix the boat and maintain it and keep food in my refrigerator, which is really all I'm trying to do. I don't need to get rich. I don't need to be greedy. So, but yeah, to answer your question again, the stories, how I do with those. It's funny. There was one story I would tell.
Because you are very engaging, Ryan. It is pretty difficult to do that.
I appreciate that. It's a good compliment. Thank you. One story I would tell was about the mast breaking off, because that was a pretty fresh trauma. We'll call it a trauma rather than a story. And I told it at first, and I wasn't real animated about it. It was just like factual. I would just tell the story. And then I would get people's reactions, and they were all like shocked and wowed, and their shock and wow made me feel more excited about the story, and so I'd go a little further and be a little more fun about it, and then they were even more shocked, and so then eventually I had my whole spiel down. The story was all like this, and, the mast was bending like a piece of spaghetti, and it was under so much tension, and pieces of the bridge were breaking off and falling on the deck around me, and it finally snapped with a crack and came slamming into the side of the boat, and people were just just loving it. And so in my analysis, and I would do this, I guess, sort of almost subconsciously, while I was in between guests, folding laundry or doing whatever thing I was doing, just thinking about stuff. And one of my things is that I'm really, really sensitive about lying. I don't like lying. I hate it. It's like a manipulation. And really, if you distill my concern down, I'm really upset, or not upset. I'm really sensitive about any kind of manipulation. I don't like that. It's lying. It's manipulating. It's pulling the wool over somebody's eyes. So I try really hard not to do that, and even to a fault. I was really bad with it when I used to be an electrician, and I would tell my boss every single thing I did wrong, and I made myself look like a fool. And I didn't understand why he was, why he looked at me like I couldn't do anything. I'm like, I do better than most of the guys. I just tell you my mistakes. They're not telling you at all. They just bury it behind the drywall, and you never know. And then somebody told me, they're like, you don't need to volunteer your faults. That's not lying by omitting, which still also bothers me a little bit, but nevertheless, there is a point where you can be too honest. However, I wrestled with this in myself about my storytelling on the boat, because I want it all to be factual, right? And I realized, these people they don't care. Like, they want a good story. This is entertainment purposes. It doesn't need to be a deposition, just tell the story, for fuck's sake. If it just need to be a little more, turn up the saturation levels on the excitement, do it. And so I did. I started tweaking things a little here and there, and it just made a better experience. And then no one was hurt for it, nobody cared. They just had a good time. And it's almost to be expected. And I kind of wonder about that, like with sea tales, tales of the sea and fishing stories. The fish was this big, They didn't even catch a fish, like at all. So it's just for the fun of it. So it's been an evolution. It really has in my storytelling, and I know that I've gotten better at it as the years have gone on. And I'm grateful that I've had this opportunity in my life, because regardless of where I go from here, and I don't plan to stay here.
You will be girl's favorite, I guess.
This public communication is an extremely valuable skill to hone.
Yes, it is.
And not everybody get this, right?
No, they don't. I mean, not everybody can. There's something to that too. The anxieties that people have about the way other people perceive them, or the way they believe they perceive them.
Right.
They'll hole up. They won't do it. They won't confront that fear. So yeah, I would say, in many ways, this whole Andromeda experience on both boats has been probably the best thing that I have done in my career ever, of anything. And I've done some pretty awesome stuff in my career. Well, not so much like Domino's. Domino's wasn't that impressive. But yeah, I'm pretty grateful for it, nevertheless. I'm gonna try one of these. They look pretty.
It's big. It's baked.
Look at that.
It's different, right?
This is one of those chips that you just can't finish, or you can't stop yourself, but
Right.
finish the whole bag.
There's no oil. That's why I really liked it.
That's nothing but carbs, though, man. Right there. What do you got here? 140 calories. 24 grams of carbs. Jesus. And they actually put sugar in here.
Yes, everything
Sugar?
in this country has got sugar.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's got sugar.
Sugar tastes like salt.
To keep you addictive, so you want more and more and more, and you buy more and more and more.
Yep. Yeah.
It's crazy. Everything's got sugar.
Is that the way it is over in Europe?
Well, yes, it's the same everywhere. But
Yeah.
I think it's way more sugary here.
Yeah, I think so too.
Uh,
I've been trying to eat healthier.
it's
The older
hard
I
in
get,
this country. It's hard.
yeah, the older I get, the harder it is for me to feel good after eating. Like when I was young, man, I could eat anything. It didn't matter, and I was just going. But I go to the grocery store now, and there's like 75% of the aisles I don't even go down because it doesn't have anything in there that I can eat. Because it's all sugar or some kind of oil or
Yeah.
processed something or another. I just can't
Just
do it.
avoid processed foods. That's it.
Yeah.
I cook everything I eat.
Yep.
And I don't
Way to
go
go.
out too much. Because I don't like eating out. It's just, I don't know. Don't like
Well,
it.
that's the thing. You see the food truck come through. The Cisco food truck stops at all the restaurants. It's the same ingredients, just prepared different quantities. Yeah.
So there's a lot of fast food in this country, which
Oh my God.
obviously I should have been expecting, but only when I got here I realized. Like, oh, yeah, obviously. Because normally in Spain, what you would do, you go to a small bar, just you in the corner, and you have tapas. It's everything very natural and
Yeah, yeah,
homemade.
yeah.
And you don't have that here. You can't just go to your local bar and have tapas, which is just something as simple as slice of bread with some olive oil and a bit of tomato in it. That's
Yep.
it. You don't have that.
Yep.
You have Wendy's and Burger King.
Yep.
I have heard a very strange fact about the New York City. That if you are going to if you are trying and have an eat over there in any restaurant at every day, for 50 years you will be trying for the different restaurant. So that's how many restaurants are in the New York City.
Jesus.
That makes sense.
365 into 50.
That's a
What the
lot.
fuck? That's a
Wow.
lot. Seriously, that's a lot.
Well, but you know what's crazy too is as time goes on, those restaurants will change.
Yeah, exactly. So you can always be
Damn.
dining in different ones.
Wow.
And maybe adding some more restaurants.
Yep.
Yep. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I thought about creating and still am thinking about it, but I don't know how I would achieve it. But I want to make a automated sandwich machine. That's my
Oh,
fast
wow.
food idea.
Nice idea.
And that concept in and of itself is not that spectacular. I mean, we already have food automation, and
Yeah.
people are already making sandwiches. What's the difference? The difference is they're not my sandwiches. My sandwiches, like, even for me, like I go to the grocery store, I can't even find the kind of bread that I need to make a good sandwich because it all has stuff in it that I don't want to eat. Even the most healthy of breads still have the same stuff in it. Like I just want a regular bread, just nothing special, just like normal wheat flour,
Yeah.
and I'm not a baker, so I don't know what all goes into it.
You need just 3 ingredients, which is flour, water, and salt.
And yeast.
And yeast, if you consider it an
Right.
ingredient.
And
but
then
yeah.
I guess a little bit of sugar for the yeast.
No sugar. It doesn't need sugar.
The yeast doesn't need
add-
sugar?
I mean, not necessarily. I used to bake. During the pandemic, I was one of those people who got into baking, and I find it very interesting. You don't need sugar. You can create your own yeast. Maybe not here at sea.
Right.
But inland, you just pour some water into a bit of flour, and you just let it sit there for a few days. After a few days, you just add a bit more water. You'll see that it begins, having some bubbles on it, and because it's creating. I mean, flour already has some bacteria and yeast, natural yeast, which is just living
It's just
in the earth.
naturally occurring, yeah.
And they're also on the grain, and when it becomes flour, it just goes along with the flour, right? It just needs a bit of water and in time, and it just grows by itself. And I did that way, so 100% natural, and I baked my own bread, and it was phenomenal. It was really, really good.
See, that's the thing. I want to do natural bread, like nothing fancy. And I realized that the whole process of commercial bread making is about longevity on the shelf.
Yes,
Get
exactly.
it. I get it. But instead of dealing with longevity on the shelf, you accept the fact that you're going to have waste. You're either going to have waste or you're going to run out of product, one or the other. And it's just what it is. You build that into your cost structure because I believe that there is a market for quality food that is not being met, is not being serviced. And if you can take out the overhead costs involved with running a traditional business and you turn it into an automated system, you can turn that basically into like, I don't know, like one idea I have is like these basic canister things. You load this canister up with what? This is your bread canister, and you just slam that thing into the machine. Done. Your bread is done. You swap them out. And you got one guy with a truck, all of his ingredients in the truck, and you just pull the canister, swap it out, take it back to the factory, reload it. Good cheese, quality meat. Quality meat is important. It can't have all that nasty, what are those things they put in the meat? I can't remember the name of it.
Antibiotics? Well, they do have antibiotics.
Well, yeah, they have the antibiotics too, but I mean, for lunch meats in particular, there's these preservatives that they put into them to keep them. But like,
I don't eat meat, so.
Oh well. But you get rid of all of that stuff, you know, and you just have good sandwiches, man, and you create it. There's so many angles to come at this from. Another angle is, obviously, people love convenience. They want that convenience. I want that convenience. I want to be able to go and say, I've only got, 10 minutes. I'm going to swing by and grab this sandwich real quick. In 10 minutes, maybe I can get my food at a Burger King. Maybe I can't. It's going to be bad. I can guarantee you that. It's not going to be good for me. If I can, same time, just swing right through, or I could even have it up on the app. You just, boom, I want my thing. And you scan your app, and you're just like, it's already prepared. It's sitting there waiting for you, and you just poop, poop, done. There you go, out the door. You could do drone delivery. A sandwich is just such a good medium to do that. You can eat them for breakfast, lunch, dinner. It doesn't matter. I mean, a little bit odd for breakfast, I guess, but it could be done.
It could be, yeah.
It's better than a burger for breakfast, you know. But what really gets me is when I seen Subway going into all of these truck stops, because truck drivers need a sandwich. They're eating on the road. They need a handheld meal, right? And they're not trying to eat necessarily a greasy burger all the time. It's like the most sedentary job you could have is being a truck driver. So you put these, instead of having this whole full-blown restaurant attached to a gas station, you just need this vending machine that spits out quality, affordable sandwiches. And they're always the same quality. It doesn't matter where you go, the consistency is always the same. You get the brand, and this is where the branding comes in, right? So you have them at the truck stops, you have them at the corner stores, you have them outside of schools, wherever, it doesn't matter. It's just such an easy concept. So you're marrying vending machines with a Whole Foods, whatever, quality food store. I really think that kind of stuff would go a long way to benefiting the culture, to just be able to have a good food alternative. We just don't have it. Although
only bread, which you don't have in this country. You don't have bread. This is my personal crusade against the US. You don't know bread as a concept.
Agreed.
You have sourdough bread. Some people bake it at home, and in some places they bake it, like good bakeries. In New York, they're big on this. But in general, you don't know what bread is.
Absolutely right.
Nowhere you go, you find bread. You go to Trader Joe's, there's no bread. Got like loaves of, these soft bun you call bread, which is not bread. But just a baguette, like the French baguette,
Oh, yeah.
the kind of bread that we have in Europe. You don't have it. No one's baking it. It's so easy.
And what's sad about it, I guess this is the one crux, the dilemma of my business plan is people are trained to eat a certain thing in this country, and to change their training,
Yes.
100% agree. Yep.
monumental challenge.
Even if they want to change it, they can't change it.
Yeah, like wheat bread alone. The difference between white bread and wheat bread is so vastly different.
Yeah.
Like I don't eat white bread anymore. Right? My wife got me out of that. Like when we first got married, she's like, "We're not eating white bread.
Yeah.
We're eating wheat." I was like, it was like, you ever see The Exorcist? That was me.
Oh my God.
I was like, no, I won't eat this terrible, nasty stuff. And it took me probably a couple of months until I finally got used to it. And then I tried to go back to white. I couldn't do it. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
I mean, white can still be good, but not generally. It isn't.
Well, yeah, not
But,
like Wonder
could be.
Bread, white bread.
Yeah.
There are, like my wife would bake white bread.
Yeah.
And that was just a substitution of flour or whatever, and that was good. But yeah, all the commercial bread products are just terrible. All of the food here is terrible. And I guess I don't want to talk shit on a necessary service, right? To feed all of these people
Yeah.
consistently, reliably, yes, something has to be done. Okay, fine. We had to get to this point. But like you said, are we getting better? No, I'm not sure that we are. Maybe there's a lot more, options for healthy eggs, meats, organics, that sort of thing. And I think more people are realizing too that it's important. Like I used to be like lactose intolerant. Something happened, I want to say, in like early 2000s, probably around the time of the housing crisis. I was talking to somebody else, and they said, because I was talking about how fast food changed. Like suddenly, like I just couldn't eat it anymore. It was just like, ugh, I don't know what they changed, but it tastes bad to me now. And they said, yeah, that was around the housing crisis when nobody had any money, so they just changed the ingredients of the food so they can continue to sell it right.
Wow.
Which could be. I don't know. I have no proof of that, but it wouldn't make sense because it's about the time I stopped being able to drink milk. And so I was drinking almond milk for a long time, and then I switched to oat milk. And then I read the label on the oat milk, and I was like, God damn, this is worse than the almond milk. Like, this is like really bad for you. If if you're trying to watch your carbs and sugars and stuff. So then I was like, well, what's left? I mean, I like that consistency and texture, and well, maybe not consistent, but I want a milk of some kind. Yeah. So I was like, well, here I am. I'm spending all this money on fucking oat milk. Maybe I need to try the grass-fed milk. So I tried the grass-fed milk. Guess what? It didn't make me sick. If I drink the regular milk, I still get sick, but I don't get sick when I drink the grass-fed. What is up with that? That's telling that something is up with the mainstream milk processing.
Right.
So I'm glad that there are alternatives like that, because there sure weren't that when I was a kid. Eggs were just eggs. Like you had white eggs and brown eggs, and they all came from basically the same type of chicken farm. But now the eggs I get, when you break them open in the pan, they're an orange color. They're like not that pasty yellow color, which my wife's parents, they used to have chickens on their property, and we would collect the eggs, and that's the way those eggs were. They tasted different. They tasted like a farm fresh egg, not this other stuff. But man, having good bread, I would love to have some good bread.
That's all you need.
You
Good
can't
bread,
find it.
good cheese, and good wine.
I was actually hearing something else about the breads, is that the grains that they use, like the genetics of the grain that they use, it's been so modified now that...
Yeah, in Spain they're going back to what they call the primitive grains.
Heirloom.
Yeah, and they produce fantastic bread. Not everyone obviously eats that, but even the general average loaf of bread is good. Better than here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's what they're thinking is... Well, some people think anyway that is part of the reason why you have so many people who are... What is that called? Celiacs. They have celiacs disease and gluten intolerance. That it's not that they have that to all wheats. It's that they have it to the wheats here.
Right. But I think people now pay much more attention at what they eat, and in Spain, like bakeries are a thing now, and you've got bakeries popping up everywhere. But like high quality establishments where they actually care about making good bread with good grains, good flours, natural yeasts, and you really feel the difference. And I think people are much more interested in these things now.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm starting to look at it now too. Like when I had to go buy a $7 thing of milk, like that's twice as much as what I was spending. Or when I went to the butcher shop when I was back in Pennsylvania, and I'm looking at the meat prices there versus the meat prices at Walmart. I'm like, this is a lot more money. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not that I can't afford it. If I couldn't afford, like literally could not afford it, would mean I only have $25 in the bank. I have more than $25. I can spend the money. I just don't want to spend the money because I've been trained to believe that the only way to grocery shop is the cheapest. You buy the absolute cheapest thing on the shelf. And now I'm looking at it like, no, this is what's going into my body. Whatever I'm eating becomes the skin on my bones, literally. Yeah. So I need to make sure I'm putting good stuff in, or I'm going to get bad results.
I used to be the same, and now I pay so much attention to what I eat.
Yeah,
And I think it was a very good call. I feel so much healthier and stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not about affording; it's about priority.
Yes.
Because if you wanted to spend the money on watching a movie, you would find the $15, $20, $30 it takes to go to a movie, but you won't find that to go spend on better eggs,
Yeah.
higher quality milk or whatever. But it's it's the ability to see what the result is. You don't necessarily directly see, oh wow, this morning I feel so much better. But over the long haul, combined with exercise too, that's the other thing we don't do in this country. Is, a healthy life. I wonder that about countries like India though too, because you guys, your food is not as processed either, is it?
It's all
super
manual.
basic.
Yep.
It's homemade.
Everything, but it is very contaminated nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sucks seriously. So whatever the food you guys are consuming right now, in America it is better than India, right?
That's so bad.
They are putting a lot of injections in the vegetables, in the milk, and in the saturated oils,
Is that
ghee and all,
for what purpose?
just to get the more money from the consumers.
To make things grow faster and stay on the shelf longer
Yep.
and all the same.
They're putting all the injections to the chickens and cows and all those
Well,
goats.
I guess it's also difficult to feed 1.4 billion people
Yeah,
that
A
you
lot
are.
of people.
it is. So whatever the thing, the irony is that the whatever we are getting in Indian stores in America, we are getting the good food. Whatever the quality food we are getting from the India, they are exporting from that, and the leftover, it sucks.
What's exported?
So they export some of the
yeah.
different.
What's the products, the sort of product that they export?
Everything they export everything over here, like the better than the Indian food over here, they're exporting the better quality. We can see that.
Wait. You're saying they export from India to the U.S.?
Yes,
Really?
there are so many Indian stores over here, a lot. You
But
can
I would have thought that all the curry sauces and that kind of stuff is produced here, like in the US, just like
Although it's
follow
probably,
a recipe.
I bet you it's cheaper there.
yeah, it is pretty cheap. Yeah, it is. So in an Indian person in India, they can have a whole meal for three times, like in a day, like $3 or $4. That is the maximum.
Yeah.
I'm telling
well,
you. Yeah, $4, 3 months.
I lived in Delhi for 2 months. I loved it there. So nice. Such good food.
Where did you live?
Where?
Yeah,
I
Delhi?
stayed with a friend
Okay.
in Greater Kailash.
Great Kailash. Okay.
It was very nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good place.
Yes. It's like a fancy place of New Delhi.
It's the white people. It's where the white people are.
Not really. I mean, no, there were a few white people, but it's mostly Indians, I would say.
Yeah.
Like rich Indians.
Oh, okay.
Well, not so rich, just like upper class. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have been to in the metro and all,
Yeah.
so Rajiv Chowk and all.
Yeah.
The most funniest place ever.
It's a very interesting city.
It is.
You can still see like the colonial pit left by the British. With
Yeah.
is it called the Connaught Centre? Is it?
Connaught Place.
Connaught Place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like this huge avenue. It looks a bit like the mall.
It
It's
Connaught,
like the Indian version of the mall, I guess.
Connaught Place is a dating place nowadays. The people do the cold approaches over there.
Wow. Wow.
Interesting.
So girls are very aware that you are from the cold approach. Okay, you are from which group? If a boy is going to approach them, the girls ask them like this. The bullshit. The girls are so trained to get the attention.
Yeah. It's a really crazy place. I remember, because obviously I come from a very small place in Spain, and it's very scarcely populated. And I got to India. Yeah, fair enough, I had been living in London for many years. But you get to Delhi and suddenly the street is full of people. It feels like there's something going on, but it's just India. It's full of people. And there were people everywhere. And wherever you go, it's full of people. Like there's like a street party or something. And I was like amazed by how, and obviously you understand that, there's 1.4 billion people living there. And that's how you understand, you know. But
That's
it's
why-
people and people and people everywhere you go.
That's why I didn't go to India from last 2 years.
Yeah.
just to
And I was
avoid-
solo traveling
just
for a
avoid
while.
people.
And I was the only white guy solo traveling, and obviously, you know, I had all these children around all the time, painting my skin.
There are some YouTube videos. so, some of the random white girls, they went over there. So Indian people were taking the selfies with them because they think that they are the celebrities. Oh my god, this is so fucked up.
That's funny. That's funny.
It was really, really nice. Very welcoming people as well.
Yeah, they are actually. They're very simple and
Yeah.
sober people.
I wanted to spend some time in India, like spend a year over there and just go around and see the different areas because it's there's so much culture there.
Yes.
So
And-
in every 100 miles, you will see the different food and different culture and different language.
Right,
Every
exactly.
100 miles, oh my god.
But
It's overwhelming to think about. So like just to begin to plan a trip, like a full trip. Like I want to see all of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure it can
I'd
be
love to do
done
that.
in a year. You know, that's
'Cause there are layers and layers of history.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
Yep. Whenever you're going, just ask me because I have done a lot, every
Yeah.
part of the India.
yeah.
So I can guide you that where you have to go for have the specific food.
A lot of people there speak English, right?
Yep.
As a second
Everyone
language.
speaks English
Everybody
over there.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. That unfortunately is one of my barriers as an American. I only speak one language.
So you don't have to worry about the language in India. Everyone knows about the English. Yeah.
for most people.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to get sick from the food.
You know, I was actually
Maybe you
reckless.
can get diarrhea.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was reckless when I was there, and I kept eating street food, and nothing happened. But on my very last day, I had these. It's called jalebi.
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 Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like
It's a
fried.
sweet thing.
But
Yeah.
it's really fried, like deep fried.
Yeah.
And that really didn't agree with me, and I spent my
stomachache.
last day in the toilet, and then I had to take what was it, like 10 hours?
But did you like the
Oh,
taste?
man.
Did you like the taste or not? Did you
It was horrible. I hated it.
Oh my god.
That was the worst bit because it was for nothing. Because I didn't like it at all. It was really too oily, and
Yeah.
no, I didn't like it. The rest of it was fantastic. I love Indian food. Is probably like my favorite. Together with Mexicans, like it very close.
Yeah, it is. It is very close to
Um,
Mexicans. Yeah. So you would like my home cooked food because I use
Maybe.
the very great ingredients, and people ask me always like, whenever you're cooking, just ask us out.
So when you cook at home in
In Buffalo.
did you say Buffalo?
Yeah, I live in Buffalo.
Buffalo, New York?
Yeah.
No shit,
Yeah.
dude. So you know Erie, Pennsylvania.
Uh huh.
I live just 30 minutes south of Erie, Pennsylvania.
Oh
We're
my
basically
god.
neighbors.
I was there 2 months ago.
Really?
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I was road tripping with a few friends of mine and went to Erie.
Wow.
And I stopped in this diner in Erie, and it was beautiful. And I spoke to the lady who owns the place, and we had a conversation a bit like this after lunch.
Wow.
Because they were closing, but you know we stayed longer there because like the conversation was so good.
Wow. That's unusual.
Yes, it is usual.
Yeah.
And she was saying us, you know, that she always lived there. She had also an antique shop. Anyway,
Yeah,
Very-
Erie is
yeah.
not exactly a melting pot of civilization
No,
for
no,
sure.
no.
But
I went to Presque Isle.
Presque Isle, yeah.
Presque Isle. It was really nice as well.
yeah, I thought about trying to get up there and do some boat business actually.
Right, it's really lovely. The Isle itself, and I took a swim. It was late November. It's still freezing cold.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was chilly.
It was, yes, it was like
Jeez.
one minute. I've got photographic evidence to prove. It was 1 minute, and it was a terrible idea.
Oh yeah, Jesus.
But good. I looked to that. I did that in Scotland as well a few times. It's really good for your brain.
I guess.
That really resets it.
I mean, you need to get your brain reset if you're doing it in the first
Yes.
place.
Yes, you need a lot of courage.
Yeah, no, I've heard that. Like I said, the Joe Rogan podcast. I've been listening to that to try to understand what a podcast exactly is because I don't really listen to him. But that's the thing he touts is the polar plunge or not polar plunge. What do you call that? The ice bath. It's
Ice
basically
bath,
an ice
yeah.
bath. Yeah, you do
It's become
that.
very
It's good
popular
for
now.
you. Mm-hmm.
I know it's like good if you do it on a regular basis, if it helps. But every now and then, I think it's good to push your limits.
Yeah.
And that's a very useful way of doing it.
There's I guess some scientific point to it that it helps you build like some, I think it's called brown fat or something like that. It's a special type of something. I'm going to butcher the thing, but there's actual biology that's involved with it. By subjecting yourself to that for periods of time, it'll help you.
I began doing it a few years ago, and because in the north of Spain it's really cold in winter, because it's the Atlantic.
Oh yeah, it's
ocean
cold.
after all, so it's really cold. And weather-like, it's a bit like Ireland. So it's not this idea of Spain being super warm that everyone's got in their mind.
Yeah,
It's very different. And yeah, in winter I do go every now and then to, for a little swim. And it's really, really cold. But I think the courage you need, how your brain has to adjust to it, it's really, really healthy, I think. And ever since, like I began doing this like 2 years ago, and I just feel so much healthier. I had 0 colds.
Really?
Ever since. 0 colds.
Well, that's because everybody's wearing masks now.
Well, no, because it was at the end of COVID, so no one was wearing masks anymore, and and I just self-regulate very well in terms of temperature. Like I don't feel cold now. I mean, I just self-regulate very well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So
yeah.
how frequently do you do it?
Well, now a bit less because I'm here in the US.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I like last winter I did like 4 or 5 times.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No.
Well, then you won't find this water especially cold. Bird, get out of here! I swear to God,
Oh, again.
get out of here. Go. Yeah.
You
This
should
water-
be having one.
Get out of here.
Where's the
I'm
apple?
gonna grab you by the neck.
You have eaten it already.
Yeah, throw it.
You have eaten it.
What?
You are talking about the apple, right?
Yes.
You have eaten it.
Yes, but like the remains of it. No,
But yeah, you'll like this
Yeah.
water then. It's not that cold, but it's
Oh
definitely.
no, I went for a swim yesterday and the day before. And
Oh, did you?
yesterday I went at night because I had been, sightseeing during the day. I was pretty late when I got to the beach, and I went for a swim alone in the darkness again. And it was nice because I was alone on the beach. Obviously I was alone.
In which beach?
South Beach.
I was there yesterday.
Yeah,
Around like 2 o'clock.
What a bummer.
like 2 o'clock in the morning. No, I was sleeping then. No, that is very night for me. No, this was like 9,
Okay,
10.
okay.
And I went for a quick swim.
Yeah, that water is
So
even
good.
colder than this water is, because that's right there on the Atlantic. It gets all that cold water that comes
And
down.
for me, it was perfect.
Wow.
Like, so nice. I mean, compared to Erie,
Oh my God. Yeah.
for sure.
The
I-
warmest day on Erie's water is like
Are you talking about the Erie County?
yeah, Erie County.
Oh, it is nearby the Buffalo.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just like 2 hours away.
Yep.
Yeah, my buddy used to live in. It's on the tip of my tongue. Geneseo.
Oh,
Geneseo is where he lived. He would always tell me about Xerox. I think he actually worked for Xerox for a little while.
oh
'Cause
okay.
That's a big, like. I
It's
think
a big
one-
company. Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
big
yeah.
company up in that area for sure. I don't know if they still are or not.
Do you know my bank, M&T?
Yeah, yeah.
I work in there.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
In
No, it's
headquarters.
a small world.
Yeah.
Huh. So you have to deal with all the snow.
You know, the best part of the Buffalo, the people. I haven't
Really?
seen that kind of a people in everywhere. Like
Really?
I used to live in California, but Buffalo people, oh my God, they
What part?
are
What part of
next-
California?
Los Angeles, Irvine,
Oh,
and
yeah.
San Francisco, Sacramento, and all.
Yeah, I used to live in Sacramento
Uh-huh.
and San Bernardino, Fontana,
Yeah.
Paris.
I got my car from San Bernardino.
It's a
Mercedes.
shithole out there. I don't like those people.
Yeah. Have you been to Orange County before?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a beautiful county. And
Yeah, I lived there back in the 90s, though, so things
Yeah.
are much different now.
Aye.
I went back for a visit in 2014, and it was so different.
Yeah, it is.
Crazy different.
Have you been to Dana Point?
I don't think so.
Never?
I don't think I was.
One of the beautiful places in Orange County. The houses starts from $17 million minimum.
Jeez.
Oh, you see Presque Isle.
Oh, yeah.
14th November.
Wow.
I do have other pictures, but that's not worth showing you. But yeah, it was Erie.
I'm surprised the sky was blue.
Yes, it was really warm actually that day.
Wow.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why I went in, because if it's sunny, that's it's all right.
Yeah. Psychologically, that helps.
Yeah, and when you come out of the water, it just warm up so quickly. It's really fascinating how it works. Because I felt no cold at all after the swim.
Huh.
No cold whatsoever. I was actually better than my colleagues who were like, fully dressed and with a coat on. It was really weird. You warm up like instantly. It's like something, inside. Warms you up, like, very quickly.
That's odd.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the dating life nowadays?
Oh my God.
Anyone
The
dating?
what?
I'm trying.
Dating.
Oh, dating. It's very difficult for
Are you dating?
someone in my business.
Oh my God.
It is.
That is the sarcastic comment I have ever heard. I can feel you, bro.
Yeah.
What about you, Ryan?
Not good. Not good. This is a tourist town, so like it's just people who are here for a couple days and gone. So you can't really if you're looking for just a quick hookup, I suppose you can make that work pretty well for yourself here, but that's not me. Like I want an actual long-term relationship.
Pretty difficult for the Gen Zs nowadays,
I guess.
I'm from millennial.
Yeah.
I can totally feel it.
Yeah.
Gen Zs are, oh my God, they don't even care about the feelings that
No.
they said that, oh fuck off.
Yeah, it's a twisted deal there. But yeah, I mean, for me here, it's there's like I think the regular population here is supposed to be 25,000 people, something like that, and I don't know if that's accurate or not. I feel like that's a little bit too many. But of course, of those 25,000, whatever, 10,000 are kids,
Yeah.
and then another 10,000 are already, married and the opposite sex that I'm not interested in. So you keep whittling that down, whittling it down. There's like 46 people left on the island, and then, it's really difficult to date here.
Yeah.
But it's especially difficult for me in my own head anyway, because of the life that I live here. Like how do I bring a woman back to this boat and be like, this is where I live? I mean, it's cool and all, like from a transient experience, but
for a week or for
for a
15
woman to-
days, but after that 15 days she will get bored because
for a woman
women
to come in here and imagine her life being as a part of this is not enticing, which is part of my stress to get this fucking boat finished, because it's standing in my way, in part. It's either, do that or transition to a life on land. But with what I'm doing here, like I've got to be here if I'm going to work this boat. So having a place on land that I'm never at, what's the point of that?
But don't you think that there should be one partner for you for some time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know there is, for sure. I just can't find her.
You are not
the
using
problem.
any kind of a dating apps like
Oh
Bumble?
yeah. I use the dating apps, but they're rigged. It's a rigged system. It's all based on looks. There's no ability to get to know anybody, and I'm not handsome enough to be able to compete with
You
all
are.
of the guys.
Don't think so.
No. I mean, I'm not saying I'm ugly. I'm handsome enough, but I'm not compared to so many other guys. And like, it's like at least a 10-to-1 ratio for girls to guys on those apps. It's probably even more than that.
How many matches you are having right now?
None. I'm too old now. I'm
You are
maxed-
not
I'm
old.
outside.
You are better looking than me. Do you want me to show my matches?
No, I don't want to get embarrassed.
No, you shouldn't be, because what I have like learned from like two years, woman is not about the looks at all. It's all about.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with that, but not in a dating app.
because you are having the kids, right?
Yeah, I have 4 kids.
Yes.
That's a problem too. Chicks don't like that. I mean, they're all grown up
there are
now.
so many chicks that they are liking it, Joanne. And I'm saying,
Maybe in Buffalo, not in Key West.
I'm talking about in Florida.
Well, see, that's part of my problem. Like I said, it's right where I am here. This is a certain type of people in Key West, and they're living a certain type of a life, and it's unique. If you go just 125 miles up the road to Miami, totally different culture.
Different, yeah.
Completely different. And it's not even the culture I need, because that's where all the women are who are, I mean, they are tens, they are models, and they are working that ass so that they can get that money check from, their high rolling hubby.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for somebody who's want to go skiing with me in the
Stable,
Alps.
yeah.
Somebody who's going to want to go diving with me at the reef.
So
And that's hard to find, man. Like,
So
is-
difficult nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I know she's out there. I know there's probably 10 of them in my 1,000-mile radius. I just need to find her.
Would you say is this something that stresses you? Like,
For me,
yeah.
sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Hmm.
Whenever I'm out of my work, yeah, so it does that. But when I'm working, it doesn't even care.
So it depends the kind of work that you have. Because I'm very lucky. I have a very social job. So I keep meeting new people virtually every day.
Yeah.
Very different people from many different countries doing very different
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
every day, every week. And I get to travel a lot as well. But also, which is not great, trust me. Like,
Yeah, it wears on you.
Yeah.
But you're dealing with it, okay. I
But
salute
the
to
thing
you,
is,
bro.
but I don't really want to date anyone at the moment.
You don't want to
because
get separated?
I don't, because in my life there's nothing long term. In the last 6 years, 7 years, I've lived in 9 different cities.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
It is awesome for my personal, because that's what I wanted to be doing at the time, which means that you can have anything long term. So it's pointless for me to stress over something that's impossible, because I value it much more. Not just my career, because I'm not like this crazy career-oriented person. It's important for me, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's not the one thing that I strive towards at all. It's just that was the life that I felt comfortable having. And that life meant at the time I couldn't have a long-term thing. So why stressing over that? Same now. I live here in the US. My best friends live 6 hours ahead of me and 7,000 kilometers that way. Every time I open WhatsApp in the mornings, they already having lunch. And when I finish work and I feel like talking to them, because, it's intense at work, 9 to 5, or even beyond 5. They're already sleeping because it's midnight back home, so I can't talk to them. And that really wears on you. It's really, really upsetting sometimes.
That's why we
But
need.
there's no point in, stressing over things. That's my choice for this year or next year.
So then you're not in those times where you come home from work and you'd like to talk to somebody and there's no one. In those moments, do you get restless or?
No, because I've learned that in those places that I've, those places I've eventually called home, I had to find new friends. That's what I.
Right.
That's what
you got your
push yourself.
answer. Yeah.
You need to become a bit of a parrot in
Yes.
a way. So you go from port to port, and you making friends a habit, and that's the way you.
Would you describe yourself as more extroverted or introverted?
I'm very extroverted.
Yeah.
I would say yes. People usually say I'm extroverted. I don't have issues talking to people. Like,
I'm introverted. I'm definitely more introverted than extroverted.
No,
I
you're
can-
not.
Oh no, I can be extroverted. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a hardcore introvert. Definitely not. But I am more introverted. And the way I found a nice way to make this make sense in your head, which is, an introverted person requires alone time to recharge, and when they go out and they do things, that expends energy. While an extroverted person requires
Yeah.
going out to gain energy, and when they're alone, that drains
That's a
them.
great analogy. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I
I need-
fluctuate a bit.
yeah.
I fluctuate because it's true that sometimes I really enjoy being around with people, but I do need a lot of me time.
Yeah,
Especially when you are all, like most of the time alone. Because when you travel for this kind of business,
Oh, yeah, for
you
sure.
spend a lot of time alone, or just in alone in different places. Especially when you arrive new to a place,
Yeah.
miles away from home or friends or whatever. So you need to know yourself, and having a conversation with yourself is such an important thing in life.
Absolutely.
One of the best things you can conquer in life is just, getting along with yourself and just have endless conversations with yourself and without, going mental.
Yep.
But sounds really weird. But it's
That's
just
my
important.
problem, though. I've had too many of those conversations. Like I've not had enough of that connection. Like in my life for the last almost 2 years. Actually, no, it's been more than 2 years. Because before I bought this boat and started working on this, I was working on my pickup truck, which you guys probably seen over at the shuttle dock. It's that old yellow pickup. It's mine. Or you'll see it tomorrow when you get dropped off. I would say 9 months before I bought this boat, I was actually living in a sea container because I couldn't find a place to live here
Oh
that
my
was
God.
less than $4,000 a month. And I was like, I'm not paying $48,000 a year to rent somebody's house from them. That's fucking asinine. So I just set up a nice little spot inside the shipping container and I just lived in there. I wasn't planning to live there for a year. It just ended up living there for a year. But so during that time, for more than the last 2 years, I have not had hardly any human connection outside of my kids, which is good, but it's still, that's my kids. It's not really, it's not peer level, it's a different type of relationship. And my, like my buddy Danny, who brought you guys out here, he's a friend of mine, but, we don't hang out all the time. We both got lives and we do things. And then my other buddy's in Miami, so I rarely ever see him. So I'm like, fuck, I need some companionship.
Yeah.
Which is what I love about doing this listing is because like you said, like for your job, I'm meeting new people all the time and I'm getting to get back to honing my conversational skills, which is important to me. And it's good, it's fulfilling. And that's a good, sort of like a stopgap measure to what I ultimately want is a deep emotional relationship with a woman. I do. I want that. I want somebody that I can invest into with my life's time. Those ski trips to the Alps, I don't want to just do them by myself. I want to remember that with somebody when I'm 55, and I can't go.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Like as I was driving here, and the scenery is beautiful, and I was like, if only I could share this with a friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, with a
Oh my
girlfriend would be
God.
even better, right?
Absolutely.
But it was honestly, it was great. I mean, and I've done a few road trips recently, so I can't complain. I'm spoiled for very good friends who come all the way here just to hang out with me in the new world. So that's great. So this is a bit of very necessary solo traveling. But I was just thinking, if only I could share this with someone. And then I got to Key West, and I just thought it was beautiful. And the atmosphere, the vibes of the town was like fantastic. I wasn't expecting it at all. So it was a very nice surprise. And I was there just walking down the streets and I was like, if only there's someone, just to chat and, comment on how wonderful this is, like unexpected surprise.
Yeah.
Because I don't Google much places before I go. I just rather be surprised.
Yeah,
and
wing it.
Yeah. I just like doing it that way. And, if I miss something, I'll come back. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? But that's life. Just don't overplan things.
Yeah, spontaneous.
Yeah. And but that's what I thought as I was driving here. But also with friends. So I'm happy doing this for a few years, but at some point I want to go back home and have my best friends close by, so I can go.
Yep.
Well, how old are you now?
I'm 30, just turned 30.
30. Yeah, that's a pretty good age. How about you?
34.
I'm the oldest one at 39 now. So I'm at that point where I'm like,
You don't look like 39. You look like 35.
Hey, did you see the gray in my beard though?
So
I turned
what
my
about
head like
this
this,
then?
you
What
start to
about
see
this?
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, we're looking the same.
These things are very attractive for the girls. I didn't know that.
It depends.
They told me.
I guess, I don't know.
It depends.
I only have 2 grey hairs. One is here and the other one is here. And I know where they are. I suspect there are more coming that way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, as I'm closing in on 40 and the dating pool keeps getting shallower and shallower, I'm like, I gotta lock something down because I ain't getting any younger, man. I gotta get while the getting's good.
The thing is, like for you, and I think for any who shares. So for me, I have bought my life project, which at this point in time is very important to me, and I cannot disassociate who I am from what I'm doing.
For sure.
And for you, it's a bit the same because your boat is who you are now,
really
and this lifestyle that you've chosen. And I guess it must be very meaningful if the trade-off is those other things that you could be doing or having, like a long-term relationship somewhere else where,
I've been struggling with that concept, like throwing hypotheticals at myself. Like, what if I met a girl who was a lawyer in a reputable law firm? She's doing great, and she's like, just sell all your shit and come live with me, and I'll take care of both of us while you figure out the next leg of your life. Would I do that? Would I sacrifice all this for that?
So what do you think about the women's psychology? Have you heard it?
What's that?
the what?
Women's psychology.
Like
Have-
what? How do you mean?
So there are some of the things like people have like put it in the podcast. So how the women think, they are totally different from the men. So
Definitely.
there is a one book. If whenever you guys want it, I have learned a lot of things because my dating life is very sorted right now. I have like more than 50 matches, even with this lockdown.
But when you say matches, do you meet them in person?
Yes.
Or you just talk? Okay.
I have
But are you meeting 15 people at the same time?
no
Oh.
one day one person.
Okay, one day one person, but like you could meet in different people every day.
Yeah.
A different one.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't do that.
It's up
I'm
to
a
me.
very romantic
So
person.
like I like over here like I have went for like more than five dates in Miami. So how I came up with this because I have learned a lot of things from these people that who have taught us like how the women think,
Sure,
how
sure.
the men think. It's totally different.
Right.
I was in a very much in a dilemma from last like 4 years that what the fuck is going on? Why am I not getting a single matches in my Hinge or Bumble profile? But
Right.
nowadays I'm getting like more than 50 matches.
So what do you think if you could attribute it to three things, primary things, what would they be?
For the women,
For both, I guess. What keys of success?
we are
for
talking
you?
about the women's perspective. You should be understanding that how the women is thinking, how the women is speaking, and how they are behaving. All those are different things. All three things are different, and whenever you are going for the date, you should be understanding what you have to talk. How you are talking, whatever you are saying, it doesn't even matter. How you are talking, it matters a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, I understand that.
So whenever like I was not getting in any dates, so then I went in the YouTube. I found it. I always do the introspect of myself, like why the fuck I'm not getting any kind of dates. But my friends who are like more like very less than my personality, why these guys are getting the dates with the like 9 or 10 the chicks. All women are same. We have to treat them like a very like a very simple human being, and whenever because we put them on the pedestal. That's why like they treat us like a
Sure. Yeah. I
like
understand.
shit,
Right.
right? So if you are going with the perspective of like you don't even care of them, then have you heard about the cat string theory?
The what thing?
Cat string theory.
No.
So do you guys have any cat in your house?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
So what does the cat do? So if a cat in your house,
Being
if you
pleasant.
put if the string is over there,
Selfish.
right? What?
Selfish cats. No, I don't like cats
So-
at all.
So
I'm more of a
men are
dog
men are
person.
men are inspired by the dogs, and cats are inspired by the women. So
Oh,
cat,
there's so many of my friends would disagree with that.
okay. So how cat string theory works? Like suppose that there is a string over there. It is like down, and women don't even care. Like the cat don't even care. My bad. So if you put like this, then cat will attract to that string very much whenever you are putting like this. So that's how the women works.
Okay.
You have to give the very small amount of the attention to the women whenever they want it. If you are putting a lot of attention, they will
Yeah.
pull
No,
away.
that makes sense.
They will pull away.
For sure.
But every time nowadays, whenever you are sending a message, it is a kind of a signal to them that you are attracted to them, and you can't send any kind of a random message to them because it will trigger any kind of a message like thoughts, and they will judge you in a second, and they will put you in the friend zone, seen zone, or unseen zone. These kind of things I have learned, and I have come up with like different theories nowadays. Nowadays I'm getting some of the dates. It means it is working.
Yeah. Yeah, you're doing better.
But it seems very tiring to me.
I
Like,
know
all
it
this
is very
strategying,
stressing.
like,
I'm
I
telling
think
you, it's not a strategy. It is like changing the personality or adding some things in your personality.
But I mean, it's tiring to think of dating in those terms, at least to me. Like,
You-
it's very, like, it's a lot of strategy and a lot of planning. I don't like it at all. I think it's much more about feelings and just being open and transparent. And if you're very lucky, your interests align and you can have something together. And I know my dating experience has been fairly easy. Like, I've not struggled.
You got an amazing voice.
Yeah,
But again, first person to ever tell me.
but
But no, but you guys are actually both right. You're absolutely right on that. But out of all of these 50 matches that you've got, which one do you want?
I am dating someone.
You
which
have
I
one.
really, yeah.
So okay, so that's
So
the thing.
I'm a kind of a one woman man.
Sure.
I don't do like a lot of things here and there. So like it is kind of a dating and not dating right now. So that's why I'm doing a couple of things. So how the women works, like they took a lot of time to get you understand. So once she is like done and that she is committed to me, I will stop every dating app. But still I will do that right
Yeah,
now.
you kind of have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you're right on that. You know, in the initial pickup, right? You've got to, if you're gonna do that, and that's where a lot of these pickup artists come from, right? Like they've got these strategies that they implement to be successful in those basic psychology tricks, for sure. And I definitely understand what you're saying too, because that's exhausting to me too. I just don't want to do it. Like,
totally feel
so
him,
I'm stuck in the middle between wanting to have a relationship but not wanting to put in all this level of effort to get to what you're saying, to get to the date stage, right? Because once you get to the date stage and you go, and you might realize, like, I don't even have anything in common with this person. We got the match, we did the thing, you know, we hit first base, but now we're like, nah, this ain't gonna go nowhere. Which is an even more exhausting thing. Like, I've gone on so many dates, I've wasted so much money going out with girls, and for nothing, just for fucking nothing. And it leaves me feeling so defeated. What I wish I could have is like what I used to have in high school. What I would have if I worked in a normal job that was a bunch of people working together, where you just get to know a person naturally without the pressures of intimacy involved. Like you just get to, you're talking about
That's the
stuff
best
like, hey,
way.
what's up? You know, how you doing? What'd you do yesterday? Oh, I like that band too. And before you know it, one day you're like, oh, I see you differently now.
Yeah.
What are you doing tomorrow? And then that just naturally evolves into a relationship that you really didn't have to work for. Like you just kind of naturally evolved.
For me, it's been like that 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
I've never used dating apps because it doesn't work for me.
Yeah,
You need
I
to-
struggle with the dating apps.
I need the context. What you were saying, I need the the story behind, because otherwise it just doesn't work for me. And I tried dating apps for a while, and I matched with really hot girls. Like I'm very, very lucky. Couldn't believe
Obviously,
my luck.
because you are having a 10 out of 10 face card.
No, but then again, I never met a single one of them. Because you talk for a bit and then it's like, well, I met a few, but it's like it's not the same. You didn't have the
Women are same.
The context
You have to
there.
attract them. Because it's men's responsibility to attract them. That's how they will work.
I live in a different world. I think it's more of a shared responsibility.
No, it's.
Because
I
otherwise,
totally have a
I'm not
different.
interested.
I used to be like that, like 4
You have
years
to-
ago. 4 years ago, but nowadays no.
Then again, I'm not complaining. I'm fairly satisfied with what I have. Like no complaints here. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish I could have a long-term partner, but I don't have a long-term anything. So, how with idea? I don't know.
Women are very beautiful, but they are very complicated. But they're at the same time they're very simple. If we can change our personality, not the change our personality, it means like adding something in our personality, then they are with you.
But they're just people. I mean, you can't mystify the other sex
But-
just because of the other sex.
But
It's
they think differently. They think with the emotions, not the logic. That's how we think it.
well, some do, some don't. You need
All
to,
women think from the emotions. Not everyone. Every
Well, it's hard to generalize anybody's, you know.
yeah.
That's
mean-
how the DNA works.
You think it's in the DNA?
Yep.
Ugh.
I have like read more
Well,
than
but like what's in the DNA with the X and Y and Y and Y, and yet you still end up with, some people end up with both genders.
Yeah.
Like DNA is complicated,
It
and
is.
it's
It is
not
very
always the same
complicated.
thing.
Even with the RNA as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So whatever you
it's to each their own, isn't it? Like whatever strategy works best for you ultimately comes down to what kind of person you are, and you got to be true to yourself, right?
So tell me one thing. Like whenever like you are talking to a girl, right? On one day, she is behaving like very energetic with you. On the second day, she will be very low. What do you think about? What is the reason behind it?
That might happen. I'm sure it
But
happens.
we don't work like that. We
To guys,
7 days we are same. The guys are same.
Oh, I'm not. I can assure you.
Then you have a mood swings problem.
Then I guess I'm a very effeminate man. But my mood varies a
Okay.
lot. So it's what I
Maybe,
choose
yeah,
is like.
maybe it's different. I'm just kidding. So, but have you seen this pattern? Like 2 days or 3 days, women are like very energetic talking to you. Some days they will not respond to you. Have you seen this?
It happens to everyone. I mean, I also do it sometimes. I mean,
It's hard to say, you know,
Yeah,
because
I
there's so much potential context beyond
Yeah.
it. You know, it could be.
and
It could be.
Yeah, you don't know what's happening
anything.
on the other side of a phone. You know,
Yeah.
you're just talking to someone on a screen. You don't know what's going on the other side.
But it is true. Like I think I understand what you're saying in that I've noticed that women can tend to be more emotionally.
They are emotional creature. Yes.
Well, I don't want to say it quite like that. Like there's another level that needs to be added to it, which is emotionally. What is that?
Bounded.
No, like expressive.
Yeah.
Emotionally
yeah,
expressive.
Yep, they are.
Where men are less emotionally expressive.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you mean by stability. Like we're more flat, you know, less excitable, less popped.
Oh, the bird is back again.
Dude, I don't even know what to do now. He was so serious about it when I pulled the boat in. Like I've never even seen him do it. He's just getting more tense or more confident.
I'm just using the restroom.
Yeah, go for it.
What if you put it closer, and
That's a
the boat
good
is
point.
closer to us? Maybe
See, maybe
it'll
he'll
get
get-
scared of us, or like let.
He likes his light. Well, the fish like the light. He likes the fish.
Right.
I had these one people who were wanting to come stay on the boat. They wanted to bring a service dog,
Oh,
which is a tricky thing because there's obviously nowhere for an animal to go to the bathroom here, right? And I
Yes.
try to tell the people that. This lady said that the dog is good and it'll go to the bathroom in the bathroom. And I'm like, are you saying it's going to poop and pee on the floor? And she's like, yeah, but I'll clean it up. And I'm like, well, I'm not comfortable with that.
yeah.
So now I got a message from Airbnb's community support. Let's see what it says. I'm guessing that's what it's about. Oh, no, this is something else.
Oh.
Thank God. That was just my new password.
You can't have it all. Unfortunately, yeah, it's not a place for a dog.
Yeah, and that's a tricky one because I mean I have my personal emotions in it too. You know, I have mixed feelings about having a dog in the house. Period. Service dog is a whole nother matter. That's a health thing, and I get that. I've seen people who have service dogs that are not service dogs. They just call them service dogs so that they can take them wherever they want. They're not well-behaved animals. They're not doing the things that a properly trained service animal would do. And the problems now with the laws are that you're not allowed, like there's no paper. You can't say, show me the paper, show me the license, show me the
Right.
whatever. They're just like, all you can do is you can ask them what medical necessity is there for you to have the animal in the first place. And that's it. And it's a useless bit of information because you can't do anything with that information either. Because if you discriminated against them about that, now you're in trouble. You just can't do anything. So it's a really rigged system. I can go get any dog today and just call it a service dog, and no one can stop me. And it happens.
At any rate, it's very unreasonable to, pretend the dog can just come on a boat with you. I mean, it's just not a place for a dog. Like,
Well-
I don't see how. I mean, I love dogs. I've got a dog.
Yeah,
myself.
no, that's the thing. I mean, I love dogs, but I don't necessarily want a dog sitting on my new couch, you know?
Yeah.
And let alone me, but what about the other guests? Now that I'm going to have other guests on board who may or may not be comfortable with an animal. A service animal, I understand, and I'm all about the equality of the people who have whatever issues that they would need an animal for. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But as you said, there's certain situations that you really got to question. It's not just about you. It's about everybody else too. And everybody else has to also be understanding in that regard as well, and to some capacity. I don't know, it's a tricky story. But also it makes me wonder, is he still there? Look at this. Look at how bold he is. You know what? I got another line on here. Let's pull it in even
Yeah.
tighter. Although, you know what? I came back through here this afternoon. He was sitting on this deck.
Oh, well, then it won't help much.
Probably not. He is an ambitious character.
Sorry.
All good.
So Gabriel, if I wanted to go to Spain, where are the places that I ought to visit?
Well, it depends how much time you've got.
Let's say 2 weeks.
2 weeks, right. You can't miss Barcelona and Madrid. I prefer Madrid, but Barcelona's got a unique charm to it.
Apple's conference happens over there, right?
The what?
Apple's conference? Barcelona?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Why would they have it in Barcelona?
tech conference over
No,
there.
there is the international mobile thing, where not only Apple, but you've got all the big mobile companies going to. It's like the mobile something. Can't remember the name, but yeah, it's a big thing. It's like an international. It's
Yeah.
the big thing for presenting new phone models and whatnot,
Yep.
apps and stuff. Yeah, mobile congress. That's the word.
Yeah, mobile conference.
Yeah, the mobile congress. Yeah. Yeah, Madrid is just amazing. Quality of life is just extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's only a pity it doesn't have a beach, but otherwise a wonderful town, and you just feel so free. And I don't know.
The flights to Madrid are actually pretty cheap from Miami.
Yes,
Miami?
yeah. There are many Spaniards living here, and most of our celebrities live in Miami, actually. Like Rosalia, Julio Iglesias, Enrique Iglesias, all these people.
True. Yeah. They came from Spain?
Yes, they were Spanish.
That's funny. I thought they were Mexican.
There you go. Yeah, Rosalia is.
I'm a citizen of the world.
Yeah. And then just travel south. The south of Spain is just extraordinary.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Is this
Yeah.
mix of, Muslim architecture with Christian traditions, lots of Roman monuments, Venetian monuments, ruins,
Sounds
beautiful
beautiful.
cathedrals. So one of my best friends is getting married in early March, and he's getting married in Cordoba or Cordoba. And there is this huge cathedral. Used to be a mosque, so you can still see it's actually called the mosque / cathedral of Cordoba, and you can still see the what used to be the mosque with the arches, very beautiful, alternating colors of red and white, marble, really spectacular. And then at the heart of it, the Christians built a cathedral, which, in contrast to the old mosque, which is very dark, it doesn't have windows, it is a wide, beautiful Gothic building with a lot of light. So suddenly, in the middle of the heart of the mosque, you have these, ray of light, which is, penetrates through the glasses of the cathedral, and it's just stunning, really extraordinary. And that, is, I don't know, like 1,000 years old.
Oh yeah,
like
that
older.
stuff is so old. It's crazy.
It used to be a Roman basilica there, so it's like 2,000 years old. And you can still see the floor with the tiles that the Romans left for the original Christian basilica in the early 200 years. after Christ. It's remarkable. And you have all that culture, concentrated there, layers and layers in Andalusia. Seville is also beautiful. It used to be the capital of the Spanish Empire. So all the ships sailing to the Americas left from Seville. So you have all the richness of, that new world, slowly making its way into the old world with the new species, the new plants, and that was the first point of contact between the two worlds. So you can see all that, like the old empire. And that's also quite remarkable. But yeah.
What's the best time of year to go?
I would say spring or autumn, but not necessarily summer, because it gets pretty hot.
Yeah.
Not humid, so that's good. It's a much more bearable heat than this.
More dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably be looking at a trip in the spring because fall for us is hurricane time.
Yeah.
I've got to be here for hurricanes because if shit's going to get real, I got to get going.
Makes sense, yeah.
But there's just, oh my God, I'm just like a kid in a candy store. And of all the opportunity, like I can pretty much go anywhere. Like I got an opportunity to just go for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever. Where would I go? And I haven't been anywhere yet. Well, I went to Bulgaria, which.
Oh, Bulgaria.
Yeah.
That's exotic.
That's got a lot of old stuff there too.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not like the first destination that comes to mind when you're planning
No.
a getaway trip.
No, my dad's from Bulgaria, which is why
Okay.
I was there. But
The best
know.
yogurt in the world.
yeah, man, I went there and they were selling wine off the hood of cars in like 2-liter Coca-Cola bottles that were just like emptied out, like not pasteurized whatsoever. The best fucking wine, man.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It is.
I brought some home with me. I stuck it in my luggage on the plane, and the pressure change
Oh my
it
God.
blew open inside my
Oh.
luggage. And there's wine
Oh.
everywhere.
Shit.
Oh my
It's a
God.
pity because they do an amazing wine.
I couldn't
Amazing
imagine. Like it was amazingly good. I mean, it had a really high sugar content, and I like sweeter wines anyway. But Spain's got a lot of good wines too, right?
Yeah, it's very diverse as well.
Yeah.
Because there's this variety of Spanish wine with sherry, which is not as popular here.
No, it's really
And
not.
We only drink it for very special occasions as well in Spain. Like we have French kind of wine,
Sure.
like Rioja, Ribera, and all that kind of thing. But the sherry, which we produce only in the south of Spain, you only have it in the south and for special occasions.
Like weddings kind of occasions?
In more like local festivities, like Seville's
Okay.
Feria, which is like this sort of festivity happens every year in April, or like weddings, Or when you go out, but only in Seville, Cordoba, but not like if I went out in like northern Spain, I would never go for a sherry. And if I ordered
Sure.
one, people would look at me like very weird, very very weird, like what?
Yeah, like me going to the restaurant and ordering a glass of champagne.
Yeah, like I would run, and that would be a bit
What are you
more
doing?
normal. But or like just randomly asking for a glass of port wine, like port, what?
Yeah.
Like here in Miami, you go and you're like it's a glass of port. Like, it would be very strange.
I'd like to go learn to be a wine snob. That would be so great. I'd love to rub it in people's faces when I got home. I would love to be that guy, just because. I don't know why.
But you see, it's the eternal longing, the unlived life. It's that every man and woman has that thing, all the lives that we could have had, but chose not to. Or there could have been,
What did you call that?
I don't know. What was the...
Oh, I guess I got it recorded, so I'll
Yes.
go back and listen.
You can go back. I don't know.
See, that's the beauty of having the podcast. I knew it was useful.
The eternal longing for the unlived life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's beautiful.
do you like put everything on what we have recorded on the podcast, or do you cut it down?
I had a bad joke yesterday. I cut that out. It bombed. So we don't need to put that in there. But I mean, I've only put up one episode so far. The first 3 that I did, like the one that I did with your friends, was a good one. We had a great conversation. It was a long conversation.
Wow.
But
What was the subject?
is just like this, just like varying, all different kinds of topics, different good stuff is good. And that's what it always is, you know, it's just a variety of topics and conversation. I've got to get my soundboard figured out.
Oh,
I got like a,
nice.
you know, like a
Do you have
16 channel mixing
keyboard?
board. No, like a mixing board for the
Do you do
mics.
DJ?
No, not that kind of mixing, just for inputs for the microphones.
Got
So
it.
that way, because right now what I have to do is every one of these mics that I use, I have to plug it into the computer, pull the audio file off, stitch them all together, you know, modify the volumes. Like, you know, if I'm talking and you guys aren't talking, you're picking up all the other audio.
Yeah.
So I got to mute your audios while I'm talking, and then when you're talking, I got to mute my audio.
right.
Oh my
it's So
God.
much work. Today, it took me like 8 hours to do
Shit.
last night's conversation. which
Ask
was
AI,
less than 2 hours.
ask AI to do that.
Right? Yeah. Fix this for me.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's tough because, like, what I found is these mics, they're good mics, but they're recording at slightly different times. So over a period of like 20 minutes, they'll start to get offset a little bit, and then you'll get this weird tinny kind of an echo. And so you got to go through and you got to find a quiet spot, cut the audio file, and slide it over just a hair to put it back in tune.
Interesting.
Like it's just a pain in the ass. So the mixing board is nice because I can just plug everything into the mixing board, put my headphones on, tone it, and then one output to my laptop, and record it. Done. And then there's no fucking around with it. But I got to learn how to do that. So, and that's hard to do because I feel odd asking people to just be my sort of like models, my voice models, to sit there and have a conversation while I figure out what all these knobs do, you know, try to get it right. But I'll get there. I'll get it figured out one day. And also in the meantime, in addition to working on the podcast and audio configurations, I'm also trying to put in the water maker so we have water on the boat. Trying to deal with the electrical over here, put the switches in so I don't have a big piece of plywood hanging on the wall and, you know, covering up my ugly switches.
You reminded me of a guy on YouTube who does a similar project in a way, where he's rebuilding an old sailing boat in Washington State.
Yeah.
The channel is called Samson Boat, I think. Samson Co Boat, something, I don't know.
I haven't heard that one.
He is rebuilding a boat called the Tally-Ho. You check it out.
Okay.
If you write Tally-Ho Samson, it should come up with that. It's really nice. So he bought the ruins of the boat for $1, and he's been rebuilding it ever since. Right after COVID, I think it was that he began, and it's an entirely wooden boat. Really beautiful thing. It was designed in England in the, I think, early 1900s. Or late 1800s. I'm not sure. Around that age. It's a really beautiful thing, and he does everything manually, following, you know, the old traditions of boat making.
Yeah, you have
And
to
everything
with
is
a wood boat. Yeah.
Everything is wood. It's a beautiful thing, and he's now gotten to the point where he's got the, what do you call this?
The deck?
The deck, yes, the deck finished, and some of the interiors as well. And he put the mace on a few days ago, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Piece of art.
I don't have the patience for that. I mean, there's craftsmen.
All the money, because he does crowdfunding, obviously.
Oh, right.
Because when he talks about the prices of it all, it's just crazy.
Oh, it's insane. It's absolutely
crazy.
insane.
We're just talking about millions of dollars
Yeah.
going into this thing.
Yeah, you have to. And by the time it's done, I mean, if he ends up 1.5 million into it, he's not gonna be able to sell it for half of that.
Yeah.
Just people won't buy it.
Because
for
he
that.
talks about, you know, I need like these sort of wood for the deck or the frames or whatever it is. Needs to be like teak maybe, because teak is more resistant.
Yes.
He talks about the prices, and it's like, so this piece of wood was like, I don't know, or like this order wood, like I don't know how many tons of it, $50,000, $100,000,
Yes.
and you're like,
It's so insane.
crazy. So you add up, and you go to $1 million, like so quickly.
That's what I'm saying. Like for me, for where I'm at $250,000 for this, and look at it. Like you're like, where did it go? Like yeah, it's insane. It's insane. But yeah, for me, I am definitely not a craftsman in that regard. I'm not an artisan. I could be if I wanted to be, but I've got like the stresses of I got to pay my bills. I've got to hurry up and position myself right. Like I'm doing fine right now financially. The Tikis have not completely slowed to the point where I'm losing money, but I know it's coming. I know that day will finally arrive, and I don't want to be sitting here with my dick in my hand and a boat that I can't work.
Yeah.
And I'm out of money, you know. So it's that ever-present stress in my mind which drives me literally crazy. And
Whenever you want to go outside of from this boat, then do you rent any places somewhere? Or?
so I got my place up in Meadville, which is south of Erie, where I visit my kids.
It's in Pennsylvania.
In
right?
Pennsylvania, yeah. And
Yes.
I had set up a schedule whereby roughly I was here for 2 weeks and there for 2 weeks. I wasn't quite there for 2 weeks. Because of the flight schedules, it's more like 9-10 days or so. So it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I have a place on land that I could go be at, but I don't have anything to do there. And there was some stuff I did, like the stitching for the curtains, the privacy curtains in your guys' bunks. I did all that up in Pennsylvania. Which, if you notice the stitching, it's really fucking terrible. Because it's the first time I'd ever done any sewing. But it's effective. It keeps the light out, you know, and that's what I needed to do. But
We'll check it out later.
yeah.
We'll think of the story.
But when I'm here, I don't go anywhere, dude. I don't go anywhere. My life is, I am a slave to this boat, which I really have to get away from because it's not healthy. I know it's not healthy.
Since you started this business, what are the changes in your life happened, like personally?
Let's see.
Slavery is one of them, apparently.
Yeah. So
But we
definitely.
so often become slaves to things that we love.
That's true. It's very poetic.
True.
But it is so true.
Yeah.
It can be a woman, it can be your job, it can be your boat.
It doesn't matter.
Me.
Yeah.
He's taunting me.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, go ahead. Apart from the jokes, yes, go ahead.
I don't know that much has really changed. Do you mean like as timeline goes or personal changes? in
Personal
myself?
changes.
Yeah, personal
personality.
changes for me, there really haven't. I don't notice very many. It's all been kind of a blur. I can't point to any personal growth or shortcomings or struggles or anything really. It's all been pretty consistent. It's just like I'm just stuck in this thing. Like, all right, let's hurry up and get it done. Are we gonna be done yet? Let's go.
So whenever there is no like a person is there over there, suppose that we were not coming on that day. So what would be your schedule for this?
My normal routine is the other thing you'll see tomorrow morning is there's a floating wooden barge out here with a big white structure on it. That is normally tied up behind my boat, and that's where I keep all my materials, and it's the deck that I use to saw up boards to come in here so I can keep my mess there instead of here. So I'll get up in the morning, I'll get my coffee. Morning time is special to me. That's sacred. And it's the in-between when I'm waking up and my brain is kind of, it's not committed yet to working and being the slave. It's more of the introspection is happening at that point. And then I'm also just theorizing whatever silly thing, nonsense thing.
Yeah.
And just wondering about the world, just staring at the water, thinking about how lucky I am to have this kind of a life when I could be doing something I fucking hate, you know? And so I'll do that for about 30 minutes. And then I'll start to transition into looking at the boat and like, I usually look at that back wall and I think about the entertainment thing that I'm going to be building there, and I start to measure in my mind and I'm like, make sure it does like this, and what about the ceiling and how can I do that? So then it starts to become technical. And usually about 9 o'clock, by 9 o'clock I got my boots on and I'm like, all right, I need to get the tape measure and start doing stuff. And then I'll do stuff all day long until the sun sets. Once the sun sets and my natural light is gone, I'm like, all right, it's time to get some dinner, which is why my dinner time is what it is. Make a sandwich, sit down on the couch, put on a rerun of a show that I've watched a million times that I don't really care about, get on my phone, do my Airbnb stuff, send out rental agreements, check out what's going on tomorrow, do ordering. Like material acquisition is one whole job for this boat. And now that I'm doing this hosting stuff again, there's another layer on that, which is, some material acquisition, but not much. It's especially difficult right now because I'm having to order the stuff that I forgot to order in the first place. But once I get past that, like I said, ordering some blankets and making sure I have enough coffee and toilet paper, getting the soaps and the shampoos and all, well, actually I don't get soap and shampoo. It's laundry soap is what I get. but now I also have to do the laundry.
Which is the pain in the ass. I
It's a pain in the ass. Yeah, getting the shore to do the laundry is a pain in the ass. But also, right underneath us is what's called the lazarette, and that is essentially a laundry room. It's a laundry room and has some mechanical stuff in there, and I'm redoing the floor in there right now. So if you guys weren't here today, I probably would have brought the barge over and continued to finish out this section right here where the new washer and dryer are going to go. So I don't have to go to fucking town to do laundry anymore.
Yeah.
So my jobs normally are whatever bullet is closest to my head. And in this case, it's my laundry situation. I'm wasting a lot of my time having to go to town to deal with that in a situation where I want a washer and dryer. Who wouldn't want a washer and dryer?
Right.
So I got to hurry up and get that done. And once that's done, the next bullet closest to my head, shit, I don't know. It's hard to judge.
The DJ?
No. No.
You should put some DJs over here.
This salon I'd really like to get done because it's embarrassing to me to have people come in and they're like, ooh, like look at all this shit hanging off the ceiling. Like you got these lights strung up. That back wall is so ugly. But it's gonna take some serious work. It's probably gonna take me a month to finish that thing.
A month is not a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time if you're hosting because you can't get it done. You just can't because I've got to have that barge over here. I've got to go get materials. I got to have decent weather. A lot of stuff has got to line up to make that happen. And like I said, right now, it is embarrassing, but it's not undoable. Like I'm assuming you guys are enjoying yourself enough, even though
because of your
there's
company,
insulation.
Man. You know how to talk.
Exactly. That's the thing. That is, it's really more of that than it is that. So, and whether or not that's finished, I'm still going to do this. So I may as well just focus a little extra attention and make sure you guys are having a good time. And I'll deal with that when business slows down. Then I can just shut the boat down for a couple of months, probably.
Months?
It'll be months. Because once I'm done with the salon, I got to work on my cabin. Because I circle back around to this idea of bringing a woman to the boat. And if she finally is like, well, where do you sleep? I'm like, you see this bunk bed? Scooch over. We'll lay on this 30-inch mattress together. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
So currently there are like only 4 occupancies, right?
Well, there's the 4 single bunks in the area you guys are at, and then the other side there's 2 queen-size bunk beds.
There are some people currently.
They were here tonight. They were supposed to be here tonight and tomorrow. They ended up leaving early because they wanted to go see the Everglades. So they're basically checked out now.
Oh, you can guide like me, like where should I go to the Key West? I have like 3 hours.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, so just give me some.
Easy. The island is so small, you can see basically everything in 3 hours.
Oh wow.
For photo opportunities,
let me write it down. Yeah.
You want to go to the southernmost point. That's like a big concrete ocean marker that they've got all painted up. It's the southern part of the island.
Southern point.
Southernmost point.
Most point.
Yeah. If you get on.
It's the last point of the Key West.
Yep.
Okay.
It's
The name suggests southernmost.
Yep, that's the marker that everybody goes and gets their picture taken there. So you want to get there first, because it's going to be busy.
Of the Key West. Okay.
And then mile marker 0 is at the end of Truman Street. Everybody gets a picture with that too, and they have a little souvenir shop there if you want a little.
Mile marker.
Mile marker 0.
0.
I was at the White House today as well.
Oh yeah, Truman White House.
Yeah. There's a White House as well.
Oh wow. In there.
Yes. Okay. It's not quite as the original one.
Yeah.
But still called White House, and Truman lived there. Or spent some time there.
You can walk down Duval Street, although in the morning it's going to be. There's not going to be anything going on. That's like the Bourbon Street of Key West, so to speak.
And I want to see like the beautiful color of the water. Where should I go?
You're going to see it in the morning right here. It's not going to get any bit more beautiful anywhere else on the island.
Oh my God. Okay,
guaranteed.
cool.
You've got the best view of the water right here. Like no joke. I'm not exaggerating
I trust
whatsoever.
You. Yeah, I trust you.
And what's cool here too is this spot where I'm anchored as opposed to where I used to be anchored. The water actually gets clear here, and you can look down and see the bottom.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, not that it's anything beautiful. It's seagrass, so you'll see patches and spots and stuff. But
do you have jellyfish here?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it depends. They come and go. You know, like October. It seems to me October is the time where October through November, you get like just lots of these big moon jellyfish that come just big dinner plate size floating around, you know. And then there's also the man of war jellyfish, which
Oh yeah, that's the super poisonous.
yeah, you don't want to get wrapped up with those guys. They are less. I'm not sure when they come out around specifically, but you can usually find one every once in a while, just bobbing along. You'll think it's a bag in the water. And it's
Yeah,
just
I've
jellyfish.
seen one in Spain. Horrible.
Yeah, nasty looking
They
things.
look evil. They just look evil.
Yeah, yeah.
And dangerous
Gnarly.
and horrible.
And I've seen a couple. I think they call them lion's mane jellyfish. It's this big. It's like a block,
Oh my
and
god.
it's got this. It looks like somebody took a chair cushion and ripped the bottom open, and now it's all this like stuffing and stringy stuff hanging out the bottom. They're kind of cool to see. I mean, but they're not very frequent.
Right. Are there any now around?
Right now,
Yes.
I haven't seen any.
Okay, that's
No.
good.
I mean, other people have seen them in the past couple of weeks, but they're not frequent. They're just not frequent. Like if you jumped in the water in the morning and you swam around, you probably won't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so if you wanted to get a nice ocean view though, you go down South Roosevelt, or is it South Roosevelt
South?
direction? Yeah, South Roosevelt. That's the
South
road that
Roosevelt.
goes. The road goes all along the beaches and stuff on the south side of the island.
And is there any very famous place for the food or anything?
Just have to try the key lime pie.
Oh yeah, right. Key lime
Key
pie.
lime? Pie?
Pie.
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 Okay.
Yeah, what is the name of that pie shop there? Kermit's. Kermit's Key Lime Pie. And that's over there by the waterfront. Do you have a car?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a car. If you leave your car at the shuttle dock,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't mind walking, you can walk over to the southernmost, or not the southernmost. You can't walk to the southernmost point. I mean, you can, but it's a long ass walk. But walk over to the waterfront. It's called the Historic Seaport Waterfront. I don't know. They have some other words in it, but there's that's like the harbor, the main harbor. It's that right there. Pretty much where
Yeah.
those lights are right there. And then you can walk down through there. Kermit's Key Lime Pie is right there. There's a couple cute little shops and stuff down through there. Schooner's Wharf Bar and Grill is like one of the last places in Key West that is the authentic rough and tumble Key West spot. So that I would recommend that you see. And I think they have a
Can
happy
you
hour.
repeat the name?
Schooner's Wharf, which is spelled SCHOONER.
Place.
Wharf, WHARF.
Okay.
Is that right? Is that how you
Yeah.
spell Wharf? Yeah.
Wharf.
Yep.
Cool.
And I think they have happy hour at like 9 o'clock in the morning. It's silly. Yeah, they have two.
9 o'clock.
That's a British breakfast for you.
Yeah.
Oh, this looks very nice.
Yeah, they have bar food. But that's a cool little spot there. And like I said, Kermit's Key Lime Pie is right nearby there too. I don't know what time they open though.
We can check.
I usually get my breakfast.
At 10.
Oh.
They open at 10.
I usually get my breakfast at Harpoon Harry's. It's just a traditional American diner, but it's really colorful and fun, and they got nice people that work there.
Awesome.
And then from there, you can continue walking if you want to walk. You can walk down to Mallory Square is the
Oh, yeah, Harpoon's
spot.
This is a place, right? It's very nice.
Where's that at?
inside.
Yeah, it's Harpoon Harry's. And then if you walk around Old Town or drive around Old Town, that's nice. It's nice just to see it because they got the old houses that they are very strict. Whenever you do any changes, you have to keep it exactly the way that it was.
Oh, that's good.
100% historically accurate. And they've got all this foliage and trees and flowers and stuff. It's really nice. It's just like a nice, relaxed, laid back tropical island area. And there's a cemetery in the middle, which is not a very nice cemetery. I mean, I've been in some pretty nice cemeteries, but it's actually one of my things I like to do, strangely enough. Walk around cemeteries and look at the the gravestones and see when people have died. And
Buffalo is all about the gravestone.
yeah,
Yep. Like my house is built behind the gravestones.
Oh.
All over the gravestones. So first when I came there, I got very like I got a very different kind of a vibe that oh my god, some ghost will come and kill me. So, for 1 week, I oh my god, it was so stressful. And then after some time,
That's funny.
like 60% of the area, it is all around surrounded by the gravestones.
Wow.
Yeah, Buffalo, yeah.
How good is the Hemingway Home and Museum?
I've never visited it. I've heard people are like it's overrated. It's a house. Like it's you're
Right.
just walking through a
I
house.
don't really
House.
have the time for it. So
Yeah.
maybe
I
next
think the
time.
six-toed cats are the most interesting part of that whole thing.
Yeah, that's what actually my colleagues at work told me to see.
Yeah.
So Devault Street is like one of the main.
Yeah, that's the main strip. That's where all the bars and stuff are.
Yeah, I
It's-
was there
it's-
just before coming here.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing to do in the evening
Yeah, so
rather than the
beautiful.
mornings.
Full of people with
Mhm,
color and
yeah.
the bars full of people as well. And so
They
nice
they have
terraces.
an event here called Fantasy Fest, and that's where people just kind of go crazy and dress up in costumes. Chicks usually get body painted up and walk around town with their tits out. And
Sounds good.
it's fun. It's fun.
Sounds really lovely.
The city has started cracking down on the just the blatant nudity now. They felt like that was not appropriate. So I'm like, wow, how about that? Like, you don't say. But it's still a kind of a wild, crazy time. That's in the end of October.
Do you like? Have you ever get a chance to make your food over here, like making your own food? Any scrambled eggs or something?
Yeah, I mean, I have
But-
a kitchen
But it's
that
pain, right?
that does work, and like normally I try not to cook when guests are here because I tell everybody I don't want them to cook, and then I don't want them being like, well, why are you cooking? So I just don't, which is fine for me because I mean, it is a pain in the ass, and I mean, I like to cook,
Yeah.
but I don't like to cook when I have so much to do because then I feel bad that I'm devoting so much time to something that is relatively frivolous in the grand scheme of what I'm trying to achieve. But you know, if and when I think I shut down the boat to continue on with this, I'll probably make the meals like what I make in Pennsylvania, which are mostly crock pot meals. Just throw a chicken in there and season it up and make some potatoes and whatever, just stuff that can cook while I'm working. But,
In Pennsylvania, there is a place, I guess. I don't remember the name of the place, but it is all about the stargazing. What is the name of it? Do you remember?
I wonder if that's out in the mountains.
Yeah.
It probably is where it's dark out there. I think I know what you're talking
Is
about, but
it-
I would not be able to remember the name.
Check it. Because that is one of the like very famous places in Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
Yeah. Cherry Spring Park.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Cherry, you haven't heard
Mm-mm.
Cherry Spring. So this kind of stargazing we see. Man.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh, it's
gorgeous.
lovely.
Yeah. Have you been there?
No.
It's beautiful.
Have you been out west? Have either of you guys been out west?
Cali?
Like in the desert, Arizona?
Yep, I've been there.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Tempe.
Tempe, Arizona?
Yeah, yep.
That's not quite the same. Like if you go up into Monument Valley.
Oh, yes.
to Monument Valley.
Yes. I have heard it. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Actually, I think this might be, yes, this is the westernmost I've been in my life.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah.
See, that's what's crazy to me. Like I've traveled all over the US and I know
Wow.
how diverse that it is. And then that's just one chunk of one continent. And I'm
Yes.
like, I'm going to go to another one. And how much more diverse is all of that stuff over there?
What's your opinion about the middle states, like Kansas or something?
What do you mean?
Kansas.
What about it?
So, are these states like different from the Cali or? Like
Oh,
New York?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
are the like kind
Big
of
time.
different?
That's more
cultures?
of that, you know, the central part of the country is pretty much just farmers. You know,
Oh
they're
wow!
more traditional
I didn't know
people.
that.
Yeah, because they call that the bread bowl,
Oh.
where they just raise food out there, and they're more traditional people. You know, just traditional white America farmers. You know,
Traditional meaning.
tradition meaning, you know, they'll want to get married, have a family, have kids, buy a house, have a
Oh.
tractor, minivan, like just traditional, regular, normal people. They're not doing anything crazy out there.
Got it.
I would say not cultured. Not to talk shit on it. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that. I'm just
Yeah, yeah.
saying like they're
got your
not.
point,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're not going to be like the people you find in New York City for sure. They're isolated because nobody goes there. There's nothing there. It's just the people that live there that go there. And that's I guess ultimately what I mean by not cultured is there's no other outside influence to disturb them.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's interesting.
But that's, you know, that's that segment. And then you've got a different type of subculture in the northern states, the northern Midwest, like the Dakotas. And then as you work your way to the west into like Idaho area and Washington State area, the culture continues to change. And I would say each state has its own slightly distinct cultural dialect, if you will. It's interesting. We really ought to be just a nation of 50 countries. Like it just accept that the federal government is like the what do you call it? The EU.
Yeah.
If you get any chance to start a family in any kind of a state, which state would you choose?
It's a good question.
Why?
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can answer it
I love the answer.
because there's, you know, different places offer different things that I think are valuable in an upbringing of a child for sure. And I would want them to be cultured in that, in all different things. Which is what I like about traveling, and maybe that's part of my whole wanderlust thing is that I just can't be content in one spot. I need to taste it all. Maybe that's just ADD. I might just have ADD. I don't know, man. Like it's
Still, you would be having a soft spot in your heart for one of the states, right?
maybe it's easier to look at it like, where would I not have a family? Like, I would not have a family in Southern California. Northern California, I probably would, because
Okay.
that really should be two different states. Those are completely different cultures.
Yeah, they are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably would not have a family in New Mexico, just because
I
it's
haven't been there.
impoverished.
How's that
It's-
place?
I mean, it's
It's bad.
I don't know.
It sucks.
Yeah, it's not great. There's not a lot
Wow.
going there. The most beautiful place in New Mexico to me is the White Sands Desert, which is really beautiful. That's a gypsum sand, and it's a moving desert. So the winds are constantly blowing the sand
Oh my god.
to a new location. So it's actually the whole desert over time just keeps moving. Because
Oh,
it's only
wow.
a certain, like, there's literally only a certain amount of this gypsum sand, and it's only in this one spot. It's not like the other deserts, I guess. And it's really pretty. But I think that's where the prettiness ends. I probably wouldn't want to have a family in Oklahoma for the same sort of reason. Really, any of the Midwest. I'm not in love with the Midwest at all. And I guess some of the things that I say are based upon my attraction to the landscape, which I'm big on that. I like the scenery. But also, there's something to be said about, again, cultural influence in these areas. If you're really isolated because you just have super small population towns, I feel like that's not good for influence on a child. To me, my value is I want my children to be cultured, to taste a little bit of different variety of people and
Right,
their
it
beliefs
is really,
and all that
Important.
understanding.
I can feel it, you know. When I came from India, it was totally different over there, and over here the things are totally different. It took me a lot of time to understand and migrate myself
Hmm.
from Indian culture to United States culture. It is pretty difficult. It is pretty painful.
Yeah, no
We
doubt.
are, and nobody is there to help us out. Even families like 18 hours behind or 18 hours like ahead from us, nobody is there to listen us.
Yeah.
Whatever the thing is going on, you have to keep your shit there and fix it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And you came into, did you go directly to Buffalo?
No, I have been to Southern California for 6 years.
That's where you started at?
Yeah, 2017.
Shit. I think you would have been better off in Buffalo. Southern California, man, that's, oh, God, that's, to me, that culture is just one of the most difficult and toxic environments for human people.
I can totally feel you.
It's
Yeah.
just plastic, fakeness, people ready to cut your throat for a gram of Coke, no problem.
Are you talking about the silicon?
I mean, not literally cut it, but like, it's just, oh, no, not Silicon Valley. No.
No, I'm not talking about Silicon Valley. I'm sorry, Silicon.
Oh, no, yeah, no. Yeah, that, exactly. Plastic, yeah, exactly. It's just, it's just a bad place. Not everybody's bad there, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
by
I-
overall, if I
I
had to
agree.
generalize it, I would say it was pretty bad.
That's why I don't want to go to California. Buffalo is, I know it's worst place to live. I really wanted to make my place in Florida, Miami.
Yeah.
I'm a kind of a party person.
Are you?
Like, yeah.
No, that's probably not the place to go then, because you're not going to get any work done. Yeah,
Because it
that's
was expensive.
Yeah.
It is.
If you really like partying, you're gonna, find
The-
somewhere cheaper to go party.
Well, actually, the thing is, there's so much money in Miami that you can get people to pay for your partying for you. They just want people to join their party. They'll foot the bill.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, they just want, if you're a good partier, you're just going to be an asset to the party. So they're like, fuck yeah, come on. I mean, dude, the money flows in Miami.
How? Give me some kind of a information about
People,
it.
dude, there's so many million. I think it is like the most millionaires per capita city in the country. I think it's even more wealthy than New York is.
Wow.
Don't quote me on that, but I think it is.
It's certainly moving up to that, yes.
Yeah, it's party. You're right. I mean, people are there. There's got the sunshine. They've got the Latin Cuban culture, which is vibrant. It's a vibrant
Yeah.
community. Again, unlike a lot of the parts of the United States, which are predominantly just white Americans, which are not known for being crazy throwdown, vibrant party people.
To be fair, I was in Miami and I struggled to remember I was in the US because
Yeah.
because everything was so Latin and I didn't speak a word of English for 3
Oh
days.
my god.
Everywhere I went, I just spoke Spanish. It
Wow.
was so wonderful because
I
and
don't-
people you just relate to them in such a direct way. And you're like, so yesterday I was having breakfast at this place.
I totally agree with him.
No, but I was having breakfast at this Cuban place, and I just didn't even try. I was like, "Buenos dias," whatever. And the lady looked at me, and she wasn't surprised. She was like, "What do you want?" And we just chatted for a while. Oh, so you're from Spain? I was like, "Yeah. You're here, yeah, still traveling." And everything was Spanish. So I sit down. I'm having my breakfast. Folks next to me, they're from Argentina, so I can understand because it's Spanish. And they talk about monetary policy and the new government of Milei. There's another rich Mexican guy on the other table, and everyone spoke Spanish. And it was so wonderful. And I was like, wait, am I really in the US?
Oh yeah,
It's such a different country.
yeah.
And then I went to Calle Ocho with all the Cuban exiles. And I was like, this is, in no way is this America. This is something else. This is,
Well, it's funny. There was this video. I'm sure you can find it. Just a quick YouTube search. This lady was working, I think it was a Taco Bell in Hialeah, and she was screaming at the customer like, "We only speak Spanish here. This is Hialeah." Like, threw her out of the Taco Bell drive-through.
Oh my god. They
Yeah.
don't even care about your language. What the fuck you are speaking? They will speak in the same language. What the fuck
Yeah,
they want to speak?
dude, it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing, but
Oh, I loved it. It was wonderful. That's why I liked Miami so much because it felt like home at times. And then food, because I went to some local places. I didn't just go to restaurants and fancy shit because I can't be asked. And the food is like actually, like, it's a twist from my childhood in a way, because we have the same kind of rice and chicken combination. So it's the same here, just with a different spice, maybe, but it's the same, even the same names. So rice and beans in Spanish is Moorish rice, because rice is white, so that was the Christians, and beans are black, so those were the Moors. And there's this traditional, because of the Reconquista historical period, whatever, that when you mix rice and beans together, they used to be called Christians and Moors. and these guys, and you know, because it's a bit too long, then it was shortened to Moorish rice, which is arroz moro, which is very quick. And they call it arroz moro as well here, and it's just the same dish.
That's funny.
And you have it here, you know, so far away from home, but it's the same dish, and it's as, I suppose it's as much of my childhood as it is the childhood of all these people here.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
And you know, those folks over there in Cuba, which is not
Yep.
far from here.
That's not far.
Actually, Havana is closer than Miami, right?
Yeah, it's actually closer than the nearest Walmart.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that crazy?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd love to visit Havana.
Yeah, I got to pick up some Spanish. Of all the languages to learn, for me, I think Spanish makes the most sense because it's the one I use
Yeah.
here. You know,
I mean, it's the Caribbean after all.
but I've got to be able to use it. You know, and I don't.
Do you have tourists coming from Spanish-speaking countries?
Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty decent Spanish-speaking population right here in Key West too.
Okay.
But I don't encounter them because I'm kind of stuck in my, I don't know what to call this job. My job is here.
So before doing this, what you were supposed to do, Ryan?
Before I was doing this, I was doing mapping and data management in Pittsburgh for the oil and gas industry.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very
had
different.
a business doing that.
You were not enjoying that?
No, I enjoyed it. I kind of wish that I could get back into it, but the only way I got into it the first place was that it was during the boom. You know, when what happened was the oil and gas drillers always knew that there was this shale formation that they would drill through it to get the oil. And whenever they would go through it, they would get this quick burst of gas that came out, natural gas that would come out. And they're like, holy shit, what's that? Can we get that again? And they're like, well, no, because it's like trapped in all the little pores of these rocks. We don't know how to get it out. So for like 50 years, it sat there and nobody knew how to get it out. And then somebody figured out that you hydraulically fracture the rock, shatter it, and you pump sand into the shattered pieces so that when you release the hydraulic pressure, the sand props up the layers, and then you release all the gas. And as soon as they figured that out, it was overnight. They went out there and they bought all of the leases and started exploiting out that gas. And that was how the boom happened. And because it happened overnight, they had to go from, you know, basically no crew, no staff to do this job to like 100 times as many people.
Oh my.
And they just couldn't get them. So they were pulling people from everywhere. Anybody who could do anything. If you were a hard worker and you were somewhat capable, you had a fucking really good paying job. And that's what happened to me. I got in as a surveyor, just out in the field wearing a GPS backpack, hawking through the woods in a straight line for all day, to becoming a mapper for that same outfit, to working in the oil and gas producing company land department, keeping track of their leasing and all of this other stuff. And I actually built my own AI back before anybody was talking about AI.
wow.
I didn't realize that's what it was. It was a very rudimentary one, but it would learn the information because there were these leases that were legal documents, right? And every document had the bones and meat of what a document was, but then it would also have its own special things, and we'd have to go through manually and read the leases, put the information into a database, and then use that information and put it on a map. And then the element that I added was the analysis part, which was the drilling program. The drilling program, in order for these leases to not have to get renewed for yet another, some of them might cost $5 million just to have the right to drill. You got to pay these people again.
Wow.
But if they started drilling before the lease expired, then they didn't have to pay it, right? So the guys in the office knew this, but they were just kind of looking at the map and they were trying to target the biggest plots of land first, which didn't always make sense because sometimes the biggest plots of land were the ones that they got leases on early on for only $25 an acre. And these other smaller tracts, maybe 10 acres, they got for $5,000 an acre or whatever, so it didn't make sense visually versus the data and geography versus the mapping program and the drilling prospects for the next 3 years. And basically I made a system that you shove all that information into one and it spits out the most optimal plan. And as you go through and you continue to tweak the plan, because you might say, well, we don't have enough drilling rigs, so we got to set this back. You just reinstall and spit out a new answer. And when I made the system, I think what happened was I was able to show them, like, this is a great system. Look, if you would have used this last year, you would have saved your company $35 million in this one quarter alone. And I think they were like, oh, we need to get this guy out of here because he's making us look bad. And so ultimately, they kicked me out, told me that I was stealing data from them and doing all this weird shit. I'm like, what? Why would I do that? You have 20 employees working now. We rely on you. What data do you think you have that would be worth anything to anyone? So it was a real, it was a witch hunt, they knew it too. They weren't superstitious about it. They were just like, let's get this guy out of here. And then just like that, 30 days, I had the doors shut on the business, laid everybody off, and I was out of a job. But it also happened at the same time that the commodity price was falling because they pumped out so much gas and they didn't have a transportation system for it. Like they had these old ass pipelines that were already basically filled to capacity. It's not like they generated a whole new demand system for it. People were still pretty much just using it to heat their houses. So now we have 10 times as much gas supply. So they're like, yep, just cut it all down.
Then demand was created.
Yep.
Elsewhere in the world.
Yep, that's funny because they were trying to get the ships made to ship the LPG, CNG out. And I don't know where all that went. But
to Europe.
No, I mean the whole plan.
Different plan, yes.
Yeah, I don't know that they actually made those ships. I think at some point it just became impractical for the economy of it. Although I knew China made some fucking enormous ship. It was just like this. I think it was like the biggest ship that was ever constructed was this CNG tanker.
Oh my God.
I have to look that up again. I don't remember what it was, but I got out of the whole thing after that. I knew that because I had a pretty steep child support payment to make after making good money, and they wouldn't reduce my child support. They were like, you'll have to figure out how to do this. I was like, okay. So I had this boat, not this one, but I had a boat on the river in Pittsburgh that I couldn't sell because it was part of my divorce assets, and I couldn't afford to keep storing it either. And I was sitting in my car I couldn't afford, in the city I couldn't afford to live in, looking at the boat that I couldn't afford to store, and it clicked in my head that the boat's already paid for. I could just live on the boat. And if I took the boat to a location that was warm, I could live on it all year long. And then I could cut out my living expenses entirely and redirect that income to paying the child support. So that's how I ended up in the Keys. And, short version of a long story.
The prenup is a kind of a scam over here again? Or no?
It depends.
Does it work?
I think it depends on how much money you ultimately end up with at the end of the divorce.
This is bullshit.
Because you can still challenge it. You can say all kinds of stuff.
So then why they have created the prenup things?
I mean, it's not that it's garbage. It still works. It's still definitely at least a legal agreement, a good faith effort and all this stuff. But I mean, if you've got millions and millions and millions of dollars at stake, of course you're going to fight for it because you might win. And even if you don't win, you could tie them up with enough legal battles that at some point they just settle out of court and say it's cheaper for me to give you $200 million and go away.
Wow.
That's the way the law works. It's just fucking stupid. I didn't have one though. I got married when I was 17. Like we didn't have shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we didn't have shit.
Is it legal, like to get married in 17?
In New York, it is.
Oh wow!
Not in Pennsylvania. My mom had to sign off on it. She didn't want to. But I told her, I was like, if you don't, I'm going to go to New York, and you're not invited to the wedding. But my girlfriend was pregnant, you know, like that's why I did it. I didn't want to marry her. I loved her, but you know, we started fighting a lot, and I started to look at that whole situation, and I was like, I don't want to live like this. So my plan was go to college and just kind of let the relationship separate on its own. I was too much of a pussy back then to just break it off. And then, like the week before I graduated high school, she told me she was pregnant. Just like that, I was stuck. Which I think it was the best thing that could have happened to me, honestly, because my kids, hands down, were the best thing I've ever done in my life to this point, and I think the best thing I will have ever done. They've helped me become a better person, because I was very selfish. And I still am naturally a self-centered person. I grew up as an only child, so I didn't have anyone else to think about in the first place. But to train that out of a person, I don't know if there's anything other than children that can effectively do it, because you love this being so much, not because of what the being is, but just because it's hardwired into your brain at a primitive level to protect your offspring, you know. And then emotionally, that transcends into a higher level of brain activity, I guess, to make you do these things, to be selfless, to reanalyze fucking everything in your life. It's crazy. So regardless of all of the hardship that I've gone through as a result of this, and regardless of the fact that my relationship with my kids now is pretty well beat up, and it's not as good of a relationship as I wish it was, I'm still grateful that I've had that opportunity to live that experience.
Yeah.
You know?
You didn't find any other women after that?
I did. I had one girlfriend when we first started our divorce, and she was a great girlfriend. I think about her a lot, actually. I ended up breaking up with her because of a few different reasons. I think the biggest one was that my business fell apart at the same time that I was going out with her. And when that happened, my role as provider was completely decimated, more so than that. And she said something to me that really, really traumatized me, which was, because I was telling her, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose everything. And she's like, it's all right. You know, you can come live with me. You know, I got a job. And that fucked me up.
But that was a positive point, right?
She's a fucking great girl. Like, I mean, she was willing to take care of me in my downtime, you know.
Nobody gets that.
Nobody gets that, dude. No. I mean, she was a good girl. But it still fucked me up nevertheless. Because my identity was wrapped up in this concept of provider. Like, with my wife, she never had a job. She just stayed at home and took care of the kids while I went to work. Which is a job. I'm not underselling this concept. She struggled and suffered a lot in her way too. But that was what I became familiar with. That was my traditional American role. And I still value that personally. That is still my personality, to be the man who takes care of the woman.
Yeah.
And I don't expect her to take care of me. It's not like that. It's just, I feel like that's my personal role in a relationship. And to each their own, but that's one's mine. So when I was left cut down like that and vulnerable to have my girlfriend come to me and say, I'll take up that slack for you, I was jarred by that, but also I was scared that this person is offering me something that I might end up abusing. This may enable a part of me that has not been unleashed before, which is the ability to become a lazy fuck that just lets his girlfriend take care of everything. I could definitely see that potential happening. Now, I don't think it's in me, and I definitely don't think it's in me now. I think I'm definitely comfortable with myself. I've had time to self-explore. And this happened when I was, I think, 29. I think I was 29 when all this happened. So I was still at that point, like, I had a good sense of who I was, but there was still some things yet to discover. And that was a big one. But the other thing was, you know, she had her own daughter, and I was uncomfortable with that situation, knowing, you know, it could be my kids with another guy in the house. and how would I feel about that?
Right.
And also, if it's my house, then I'm going to expect the child to abide by my rules. However, it's not my child, so all that love and attention and stuff that I normally would give to my kids, which is a necessary foundation before you begin any kind of discipline, that doesn't exist. That's not my kid. I'm not hardwired to love that child. It's your child. Like, and so now there's that complex piece of it, and I was uncomfortable with that whole thing. But in the end, I guess I accepted the fact that I've still got to work on myself. There's a lot of I was not ready to be done with my relationship. Later, I heard this idea, another rule of thumb, which is for every 1 year of relationship, you need 1 month to get over it. And I was with my wife for
What does
11. We were married for 11 years, but we were together for like 13.
What does it mean?
So for my case, let's say 13 years. I was with her for 13 years. I need 13 months to be alone before I
Oh
can get
my
into
God.
another relationship.
What is this psychology? I don't know that.
Because think about that. 13 years, you become a different person when you're with this other person. The two become one. You know,
Yeah.
that's what the Bible talks about. And not that I'm a big Bible person, but I believe that there's a lot of good lessons in it, nevertheless. And I think that's a good one. Two people become one. I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
So that happens, and when you separate, you have to find time to find yourself.
Oh my
Or
God.
you
yeah.
need time to find yourself.
That's a
That
good
shit takes a long time. I mean, the longer you're with a person, the more time you need by yourself. So I think that was about right. 13 months was probably true. And I was with her just maybe 3 or 4 months after we got together, or we broke up. And in my case, I think it was around the age 32, 33 that I was like, yeah, I've come as far as I need to. I've done the work on myself. I've found things out that I needed to find out, and I'm ready to get back into dating, which was, 3-4 years later. So, yeah, that was the one shot that I had. Like, the timing wasn't right. And I fucking blew it for one reason or another, and it's disappointing. I'm sure there'll be another shot, but I do think about that one a lot. So you said you're dating someone seriously now?
I'm trying my best, but
Ah.
she's like doing hot and cold. I know that why is she's doing that, but I eventually she will end up with that. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that.
That's in Buffalo,
No, she's in like New York.
India. Will you go back there, or you have
I
her
would
come
love to go there. Like I'm a kind of person like I really want to get together. Like I want to live in a same city.
Mhm.
So let's see that.
here? Miami.
But, but she should be in that same state. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying my best to go on her kind of a mind, like what she's thinking about right now. So I'm giving her a space and
Absolutely.
like time and all.
Yeah, that's an important thing.
Yeah. So we talk in a, like once in a week and sometimes texting and all. We shouldn't disturb the other person's privacy and all
Sure.
until unless they become your girlfriend or
Yeah. Absolutely. Do you have for your job? Do you have like a contract that you
no,
have to
full
fulfill?
time.
Full time.
Yeah.
So you can leave whenever you decide you're ready to go.
Yes. But currently, only the weather is a challenge in the Buffalo.
Oh,
Apart from that, everything is superb. I'm loving it
That's good. That's good.
compared to the California.
California.
It sucks. Weather is good, but people, oh my god.
Yeah.
So
It's tough
there
living.
is this analogy. Have you heard have you seen the YouTube? So they said that like in California, people like they are very like polite, but they will never help you. But in New York, they are very blunt, but they will help you.
Yes.
Is
Read
it
that
right?
somewhere.
I think there's some truth in that for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, I like to think of the New Yorkers as very blunt. There's no frilly coating on them. They just tell
Yeah.
you exactly, like, get the fuck out of the way. What's wrong with you? But also, yeah, you're right. If you're in a dire need, they'll be right there to help you.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want you to waste their time, and they'll
Right.
get pissed off at you what you do,
Yeah.
but they're considerate of what you need also, whereas people in LA don't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
They'll say they give a shit about you
Oh, I'm
because they
so
need to
sorry
get
about
something
it.
out of
You
you.
can do it better, but in New York, get the fuck out of here. I know that you won't be able to do that. Let me change your tire.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah. I think there's a lot of truth in that.
that.
Now, again, these are all stereotypes.
Yeah.
So, with a grain of salt, right?
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm getting whooped, tired. I appreciate all of the great conversation.
Same here.
It's always like a mystery. Will we have a good conversation tonight, or what will happen? This has been an excellent conversation, guys.
It was really good.
And thank you for joining the podcast and helping me put up another episode. Hopefully, I don't fuck that up. It's in my hands now.
Sure. Thank you.